Hey guys, Craig here from Craig's Game Room. If I look like a mess, it's because I am. I've been trying to fix the audio in this video for like a day, and I don't think it's gonna happen. So just so you know, our volumes are all not really equal, and there's not really a way for me to fix it, unfortunately, because of the way that we recorded this. So I'm a little quiet, Zach's a little loud, Tyler's a little loud. So I apologize. This shouldn't be a problem in the future because I know what we did wrong now. But yeah, apologies for the volume inconsistencies in this episode. But we'll try to make sure it doesn't happen again, and hope y'all can forgive me for this one. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, welcome back to Generations Behind. I am your host, or one of your three hosts, Craig of Craig's Game Room. And to the side of me right there, I have Mr. Zach Daily Beating. Zach, how are you doing today?
Yoshi and I are doing great. Thanks for having us.
And right below us, we have the homeboy, Tyler Haight.
Tyler, hate the hate, game collecting reaper, my 30,000 different ats that I have.
He
Here
does
to
have
record episode 2.
he does have roughly 3,000 ats. One day he will be consistent like me and Zach so that you can find him on things until then. It's a gamble. If you want
One
to
day.
find him on Twitter, you're going to have to just look around and see if you could find the most handsome Tyler around. But until
You have
then,
more ats or more Gengars?
you
More
do.
ats or more Gengars?
That's
Some more
true.
gang guys.
How many, if you had to take a guess of how many Gengar things there are in your collection, how many would you ballpark?
Oh man,
Is it
that's
over
rough.
100? Like between cards and everything, is it over 100?
If you're counting cards and everything, probably.
That's
Because
crazy.
I have a lot of cards. I mean, they're not out, but a lot of cards.
Dude, what
Yeah.
is it? The Full Art Gengar from Fusion Strike. That's the more recent one, right? Where it's like the VMAX Gengar.
Yeah, where it's like sucking everything in.
Yes, that card is so fire.
Yeah,
I think of
I
that
don't
card all the
have
time.
that one. And I
Dude,
remember
Poke.
in that set, there's like
You call
the.
yourself a Gengar collector.
I know, what a fraud. More
So
like
neat.
Tyler the Chump.
Okay, well, anyway, so in that set there was the two expensive ones. It was that Gengar and then the Espeon
Mm-hmm.
VMAX, I believe it was Alt Art.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a couple Dollar Tree packs and I pulled the Espeon one. I was excited but also upset because I was like, man, the
Yeah.
Gengar would have been a lot better. But
Yeah, because it's a bummer. It sucks when you are pulling cards, you're ripping packs, having a good time, and you get a hit, but it's not the hit you want. You're like, I should be more
and now
excited.
there's like as many like secret rares as there are normal
Oh
cards
my
in the set.
gosh, dude, Pokemon collecting
Like,
is insane. That literally a set will be 90 cards, but then the actual number of cards in the set is like 180 to like 250. It's kind of ridiculous.
yeah,
And it's like it's not really a secret because everybody knows about it. You buy a pack or like a nice
Yeah.
little box and it tells you every card that's in there and it'll have like the number of like 252 out of like 90. I'm like that's not how
yeah.
numbers
I
work.
used to go for like every set. Like I didn't complete every set, but like I would, hey, go, buy more packs. It was like an addiction. But man, once they started doing that, now I was like, yeah, I gotta slow down on this. So now I buy a pack here and there, but like, it's just got way too much.
I'm
I
with you.
can't do it.
Yeah, here I am not collecting games because I'm buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I'm the real fake
Hey,
collector here. But
did you
yes,
did you enter some of those cards in the games yet?
no, I haven't. So I continue to be a fraud on a bi-weekly basis.
You're a
But
chump as
this
well.
I am a chump. This is our retro video game discussion show. Today we are talking about retro cozy games. This idea I
Get
think
ready
was
for the
kind
sit.
of this was brought up by Zach as a joke, I think at first, and then we were all like, "That's kind of a good idea, actually," because we all love a good cozy game. Who doesn't love sitting down to some Animal Crossing or Stardew or whatever else? But when most people talk cozy games, they don't really talk about retro games, more retro inspired or more modern things since, cozy games have kind of become its own genre. But we thought it'd be fun to talk about some older games that give us that nice cozy feeling. Um, Tyler looks very cozy using his beautiful
Yeah.
Sonic blanket. So that's pretty fun. You have your cozy little Yoshi with you, Zach, so that's pretty fun as well.
I do.
I did not bring anything with me because, again,
No
being
props?
being a chump, no props. But before we get to that, we of course have to talk about what we were playing. So let's see. Why don't we go with Zach for this week. Zach, what retro games have you been playing?
So my retro games, I'm not going to talk to them because they happen to also be
Oh,
the games
okay.
I'm going to talk are the cozy games.
Okay.
There is one retro game I haven't played yet,
Hmm.
but they just added to NSO, and I'm going to play it in the next coming days. They just added Iggy's Wrecking Balls to
Is that
NSO.
the physical copy?
Um, yeah, it's one of like the dozen N64 games I have from childhood. I don't remember this game being very good. I also don't remember fully understanding it, but they just added to NSO, and I'm going to give it another shot almost 2 decades later.
That's tough.
Um, but yeah, the other retro games I'm playing, I'll talk about when we get into the topic. Um, Still playing some modern stuff though. I got through the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Part 2 came out last week.
Nice,
I
nice.
enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. If you've played 16, it's basically just more Final Fantasy 16. And then I started Stellar Blade yesterday, and I'm enjoying that a lot too. Only a few hours in though, but it's a good time. It's got some great music, some great action, some pretty intuitive gameplay with the different ways you can parry, dodge, and deflect attacks. It's all pretty easy to understand. It's really flashy and fun, so I'm having a
Yeah,
good time with it.
that does look like a good time. I want to try to pick that up eventually. It's just I feel like right now there's not a lot of games coming out that I care about, besides Stellar Blade, and it's kind of nice that I've just been able to play catch up lately with a lot of backlog stuff. So,
I'm wanting to play
especially
catch up so bad. I'm like right there. I just need to get through Stellar Blade, then I can play some catch up.
yeah, and it's nice too. Since we started doing this show, it's kind of been almost not forcing me but in a good way to go back and play older stuff that I've been wanting to play for a while. So that's one of the main reasons I wanted to start the show, was obviously to talk to you guys because you guys are my homies and it's fun, but it also is a good motivator to be like, all right, let's knock out some of this stuff we've been saying we're going to play for years and never play.
You're using us.
I am using you for my own personal enjoyment. All right, Tyler. So, since
All
Zach
right.
has to hide his secret games for the end section where we talk about retro games, or for our cozy games, why don't you go ahead and tell us some of the stuff you've been playing lately?
All right. So for me, speaking of catching up, I still need to catch up to you guys and finish this game already.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy
Rebirth.
VII Rebirth. Working on it, getting through it. Gonna play more tonight when we're done recording. So
There you go.
hoping to get that done soon. Next thing I've been playing is been going back and doing a rerun of Pokemon Emerald.
Nice, nice.
But who needs physical games, right?
He really threw
When you
his.
have
He
the
really threw his
emulator
copy of
on your
Emerald.
phone. Yes, I did. And this ain't. There we go. When you can
There it
have it on
is.
your phone with a randomizer, where you can have a Lotad that evolves into a Goldeen. Because what's better than that?
That's so
Um,
funny.
yeah, I was really upset. I was like, man, I'm gonna raise this Lotad, see what he turns into. Goldeen. Yeah, he went right in the PC box. I wasn't using him anymore.
So is that the only randomized part of it? Is the Pokemon that evolve, or is like every wild encounter different too? How does that
Every
work?
wild encounter is random.
Okay.
Uh, every team's Pokemon is random. Evolutions are random. The items you pick up are random.
That's crazy.
Pretty much everything. Like
Does
I
it
was
still
on Route
follow?
One. What?
I was gonna say, do the evolution still follow like does Lotad evolve at like level 14, or is it just
Yeah,
evolve whenever the hell it wants?
yeah, they still follow like that. So like I
Okay.
had my starter options were Cyndaquil, Volbeat, and Seadra. I went with Cyndaquil because gotta love the boy. Uh, then at level, I think a Johto was 14 or 15 or something like that. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
It evolved into Combuskin, which the abilities are random too because my
Oh
Combuskin had
wow.
Drizzle, so it made it rain, which was pretty useless.
That's
Uh,
funny. I love that.
and then when my Combuskin hit level 36, then it turned into Typhlosion, and I was like, oh, look at that, that's kind of neat. But then I have a Whalmer, and I got him to all the way level 40. I was like, oh, let's see what he evolves into. Yeah, it's a Wish Cache, so I hit the B button real quick because I'm not keeping a Wish Cache. I would rather have a Whalmer. Um, but anyway, that's what I'm playing for that. And then also, no longer you can hate the hate, I guess you could say, because after episode 1, started playing Ocarina of Time on the N64. Figured I'd go OG.
Hell yeah.
Still make still making my way through it, but I'm enjoying it so far.
How
Having a
far are
really good
you?
time. Not that far. Pretty much got to Hyrule Castle. That's about it. I need to
Yeah,
get
so
more into it.
you're very early on then still.
Yeah.
How'd you
Still
feel
got
about
through a
this?
dungeon though, so
Yeah, how'd you feel about the first dungeon in the Deku tree?
It was pretty simple, honestly. I really enjoyed it though. Uh, I was really confused for a little bit when I missed this one door in the Deku tree. It's when you have to take the stick and burn the web, and then you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta deflect the one thing. I didn't realize there was another door there. Like I just had to go through that open.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was just running around like, where do I go? Where do I go? Where do I go? And then I went back and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. But yeah, other than that, pretty good.
did you figure out to jump onto the middle web on your own, or did you like figure out how to get through the when you have to jump down to the middle and
Oh,
fall
when you
through?
jump all in, yeah, you fall through it. So I didn't look anything up. I tried it the first time and I thought I hit it, but I didn't. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So then I was trying to figure it out, but then I tried it again, and then I went right through it, and I was like, oh, so I was right. It just
Yes.
was a little clunky, and I was a little off. But
It's one of my favorite moments. It's so like
Oh,
so early, but it's so like iconic to me just
yeah.
falling through it.
That's like burned into my memory doing that the first time I was a child, thinking that was so cool. There's something
Yeah.
so like punchy about like you hit it and then there's like the ooh like you like
Yeah, it
the
stretches a little
pushback and
bit.
then you fall
Yeah.
through. It's so
Yeah.
good. God, the Deku Tree, as simple as it is, one of my favorite dungeons in all of Zelda. I think it does such a good job of just like teaching you the layout and the formula of how dungeons work in 3D Zelda. And I don't know, the ambiance of Ocarina of Time is just so cool. It has such like a like not scary, but like an unsettling, eerie vibe to a lot of his dungeons. I feel like weren't really there in games afterwards. Even Majora's Mask, it's a different. Everything about Majora's Mask is a different vibe, I think, with the time limit. But something
Yeah.
about Ocarina, just it has a very specific off-putting feel that I always thought was super cool and has always stuck with me over the years.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
So
looking forward to getting through it.
yeah, I'm excited to see you play more of it because there's some really cool moments in Ocarina. It's truly one of the goats, as they say. So, all right,
So,
and
Craig, what have you been playing?
yeah, so I guess I'll just mention the only quick kind of modern game I've been playing is Fallout 3. I've been playing it on PC. Uh, and having a good time with that. And the reason I started 3 was because I finished Fallout 1. So to follow up on last week, Fallout 1 is done now. I was able to beat the game mostly as a pacifist, which is super cool. That was very fun. I pretty much only focused on intelligence, charisma, and speech, like in terms of like things to work on leveling up and stuff. And that was super fun because I was able to destroy the final boss by talking him out of it instead of actually fighting him, which I think is so cool that that's
Nice.
something you can do. Yeah, I convinced him to kill himself, so I didn't have to fight him. And I just
That's
thought that was
perfect.
amazing that that's something you can do. And
What a
then,
cozy game.
right? The coziest. Oh no, the final boss of Fallout 1 is absolutely horrifying. His name is the Master, and he
Yep.
is like a like melted amalgamation of a man on top of a computer. It's the least cozy thing in the world. It's absolutely like Lovecraftian horror monstrous.
I've seen it. It's
Nightmare
awful.
fuel. Yeah, it's
It's
awful.
disgusting.
If you're queasy, actually, I would suggest not looking it up because it actually is kind of just gross looking.
Yeah.
But he's very cool, very memorable. It's one of those things where it's like you once you play it and you get to those moments, you never forget. It's one of those kind of things in that game. But yeah, just the freedom of choice in Fallout 1 is so cool. I'll never move on from how open it felt, and the feeling of emptiness and dread in that open world is just so cool. Absolutely loved it. I won't spoil the ending. I know it's a super old game, but I feel like, like me, a lot of people are getting into Fallout for the first time because of the TV show. And the ending is so good. It might be one of my favorite endings of any video game ever. It really hit me. I didn't cry. It wasn't that deep, but I did get like a little teary. I was like, wow, this is not what I expected at the end of this game. So I can't recommend it enough if you like say you're someone who played Baldur's Gate 3 last year, like many people did, and you love something like that. You absolutely owe it to yourself to go back and play something like Fallout, where it's kind of more the roots of that kind of PC role playing game, because it's just so good. I had a blast with it, so if you guys have any interest, I would definitely recommend because I thought it was super, super good. So
Nice.
Fallout
I'll have to
1,
check it out sometime.
yes, definitely. And it's
Started
like,
watching the TV show, and it's pretty good.
dude, the TV show's so good too. Have you watched any of it yet, Zach?
I have not. It's on my. It is the first show I will watch when I start watching TV again.
There you go.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's on the
just-
it's on
Gotta
the
watch
top of the
something.
list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I very seldom watch TV either, so but I had such a good time with it. Next up for me, a weird random game, but I decided to play it. Coca-Cola Kid, which is a Game Gear exclusive Japanese game. So it didn't come out in America. It was a licensed game where you are, just a kid who really likes Coca-Cola. Your teacher gets kidnapped and you have to go and save her. So for the most part, very simple game. It has a little bit of, old school platformer BS kind of design where, there's kind of random pits. You don't know what's a pit, what isn't. Short game designed to be a little difficult sometimes just to make it artificially longer. But it was a good length, it was only maybe an hour and a half long. It has like 5 stages or what was it? I think it was like 5 worlds with like 2 stages each and a boss at the end of each stage. All the bosses were fairly easy. The ending was incredible. I will spoil it because it's so funny. You find your teacher and you save her. She gives you a hug and then you pass out because she suffocates you with her boobs, and that is how the game ends. So shout out to Coca-Cola
Excellent.
again.
Perfect.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is so funny. This is the real ending to this video game. This children's platformer from the 90s.
It's crazy.
Is-
Like I feel like wasn't there also there's Pepsi Man, there's a Pepsi game.
Yes.
And wasn't there a 7-Up game? Also, there's
Yeah,
a
I think that was Cool Spot, right?
Cool
was like-
Spot. Yeah,
that
Cool
was their-
Spot.
Their massive.
Yeah, so all the soda games.
Dude, shout out
crazy.
to soda games. My favorite subgenre of video game is soda game now.
Yeah,
But yeah, Coca-Cola Kid, super
complete the
weird.
set.
It's one of those weird games that I think almost nobody will ever check out because of how obscure and random it is. Like, you just wouldn't think of it even existing, but it's definitely one that I would recommend. I had a great time with it. Next up, I played another short platformer. This time I played it on the Delta emulator on iPhone, like Tyler's been playing Pokemon Emerald with, and that was Trip World. So this is like a very cult classic platformer for the original Game Boy. Sunsoft made it. A lot of people love Sunsoft, especially a lot of old Sunsoft games. Like, people love the old Batman game on NES. People love that game Gimmick, which I have not played yet personally, but I've heard is a very good time. Have either of you guys played Gimmick?
Not.
I have not, but I have
Okay.
played Batman.
Yes. Did you like Batman? I haven't played it. I've just heard that it's very good.
Yeah, it's fun. I own the version for the Game Boy. I assume it's pretty similar. I don't know how different it is, but it's a fun game.
Yeah, so Trip World, absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't believe how pretty it was for a Game Boy game. Some of the best sprite work I've ever seen, possibly the best sprite work on the original Game Boy, which is really cool. Very Kirby-ish, it's not super difficult, very cutesy. A lot of the enemies don't even attack you, they're just kind of in the way, which is kind of funny. Like, a lot of them, you could just kind of walk up, push up against them, and they'll just kind of push back with you. Some of them will attack you, and obviously the bosses will, but nothing super crazy. The soundtrack was very good. Super short, though. It's literally like 5 stages that you could beat like in like under half an hour if you don't get a game over. But I found out recently that this game was re-released by Limited Run. It got physical copies, and it was re-released as Triple DX, where it had color to be like a Game Boy Color game. And it's
I know
criminal that this game is selling digitally for $20, and it's an old Game Boy game that you could beat in like 20 to 30 minutes. I was kind of in awe about that. So, I think that's pretty gross. I wouldn't buy it on modern consoles unless it's on sale. If you want to get it physically, unfortunately, it didn't come out in America. It was just Europe and Japan, and those copies are hundreds of dollars. It's a very rare game. So unless you're okay with emulation, pretty inaccessible. But I would recommend it for what it is. It's a cute, fun little platformer. Not really any story, kind of a just sit down, turn off your brain kind of fun game. So I would recommend Trip World. And then,
Nice.
yeah, I've been trying to go ahead and take back some of my backlog sins like Tyler, and I started playing Pokemon Crystal, also on the Delta emulator, because there you go. don't worry, I did pick him, and I'll get to that too.
All right, cool.
So I started playing it on there. I'm happy that you could easily get Delta Emulator on iPhone now, just because it's nice for things like, you're at work, you're on your break for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, and it's a good way to just kind of plug away and play a little bit of a game, especially an RPG where you could go in, grind a little bit, hop out, whether it be regular saves or save states or something, it's good to have an emulator like that on your phone and be able to play games that way. It's not the best way, still feels better to have tactical buttons, but for a game like Pokemon, no problem. Trope World was definitely a bit more difficult with the touch controls, but I was able to fight through it. But Pokemon, perfect for iPhone emulation. Just cruising along, I forgot how good the sprite work is in Gen 2. Some of those
Very
sprites
good.
look amazing. Especially the colors they chose for Pokemon. It's just gorgeous. I love the way that all of the Pokemon look in Pokemon Crystal. Do you guys know if Silver and Gold have any sprite differences? Kind of how like Blue, Red had different from Yellow. Does it?
I believe some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I
but-
don't think Gold and Silver have the moving. Doesn't Crystal have the moving sprites?
Yes,
When
it
like a
does.
battle.
Yeah.
So Gold,
Yeah,
Gold
Gold
and
and
Silver
Silver
doesn't have that.
Interesting. That's cool to know. But yeah, so loving that. I also forgot how amazing the soundtrack in Gen 2 is. Specifically, my favorite song is the song that plays when you're in National Park. That is the song I want them to play while I'm being carried down in my casket to go on to the next life, because it is just so beautiful. I love that song. It is gorgeous. I listen to it all the time. I would even say that the Game Boy Color version of the song is more beautiful than the remake version. There's just something about like the emotion that he was able to capture with chiptune music is just unreal to me. I forget the name of the composer.
Yep.
I feel bad, but super cool, super good. I'm about 3 badges in, so making some headway. Still got a long ways to go, especially with the post game in Kanto and everything. But the reason I said I would get to talk about the starters is I wanted Cyndaquil, because who doesn't? Cyndaquil's the GOAT. But I wanted the other starters too. And a few weeks ago, I found out through TikTok about a glitch of how you could get all the starters in one game, which was fun. So I decided to go ahead and do that. It was a pain in the ass, but it was worth it because I got all 3 starters. So do you guys know about this glitch by chance?
Yeah,
Or
no, give me a quick rundown.
Okay, so what you do
I gotta
is
know.
as soon as you're given the option to pick your Pokemon, you save the game. Then you pick your Pokemon. You play through the story up to the point to where you get Pokeballs, catch more Pokemon. So you catch whatever random Pokemon you want. Then you go to the PC, you put the Pokemon, your starter, you put it in box 1. Then when you go to change the box 2, the game will save. If you turn off the game when it's saving, like when it says like game now saving, do not turn off power or whatever, if you turn it off right when the P for power comes off, then it'll actually save your Pokemon in box 1, but then it'll start you back to where you pick your starter.
Nice.
So you can do that 2 times, and then you could get all 3 starters. So it was a pain in the butt with touch controls and emulation trying to stop it at the perfect time, but I was like, I really want all 3 starters, so I'm just gonna do it.
Huh.
So I spent probably half an hour, 45 minutes messing up that glitch a couple times trying to get them, and I did it. So I have all 3 starters. So
It's worth it. Yeah.
I kind of cheated,
Wow.
but I also don't care because it's a single player game and I'm going to play it how I want. So
Yeah,
I thought it would be fun to just have all the starters. And it's like I didn't Game Shark them in or something silly like that. It's like I still feel like I kind of worked for it in a way because it
You
was
earned
not
them.
easy. I think I earned it. I earned it by using the tools that the game provided, whether it was intentional or not. So I feel that it was
Surprised I
worth it.
never heard about that.
Yeah, it's super
Pretty
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, I found out, like I said, out about it through a TikTok, and then I looked it up, and I was like, is this legit? And I saw there were people online talking about it, so that was fun to do. It was a pain in the butt, but I got all the starters. So right now, my team is all 3 of the starters. They're all evolved at least once. I'm not the best with Pokemon names, so I couldn't tell you them all. Off the top of my head.
Croconaw, Bayleaf, and Quilava.
There we go. And then I also have Haunter, and I have...
Now you can't evolve them.
I know, that's the only thing I was thinking about. I was
Yeah,
like, man,
best
I was
boy.
like, I can't evolve him because I can trade with him because I'm emulating, so I might end up throwing him in the PC and replacing him at some point. And then I have it goes Pidgey and then Pidgeotto, right? Not Pidgeotto's the third one, right? Yeah, so I have Pidgeotto is my other one. So right now I got solid team of 5. I have the Togepi in there as well, but
Let's go.
you have to raise his happiness or something weird, right? Some And I can't stand those stats in Pokemon where you can't see them, but you're just expected to kind of grind it out until you get what you want. I
Yeah.
really don't like
Yeah.
that. So I might try to evolve Togepi at some point, but I might just box as well. So the core three, the starters, I'm gonna keep in the whole journey because I just think that'll be really fun to play through the whole game with them. But other than that, not totally sure about the team I want. I accidentally killed Sudowoodo, and I didn't know that there's only one Sudowoodo in the game, so now I can't have him.
Rest in peace, Widow. I always love using
R.I.P.
Widow, and I always try to use Togepi also because I think it starts with metronome.
Uh huh.
And one of my favorite like memes I've ever seen, it's Togepi using metronome, and it like I can't tell if it's real or not, but it's so funny. It's just like Togepi use metronome, metronome use sacred fire. So like Togepi's like shooting off like Ho-Oh attack.
That's
It's
awesome.
so funny.
I hope
Yeah.
it's real. That'd be amazing if it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what my final team's gonna be. We'll see. I'm sad I killed Sudowoodo on accident. I one-shotted him, and then
Yeah, that's rough.
afterwards I looked up, because I pulled up a guide just to make sure I wasn't getting lost, because I know Pokemon's simple, but I am not the smartest man, and it's easy for me to get lost. So I figured I'd look up a guide, make sure I was heading in the right direction. And it was like, oh, by the way, don't kill the Sudowoodo, because it's your only chance. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Older games, like especially RPGs, are so ruthless with this stuff, like the missable things like that.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
like
yeah.
Gen 1, same thing with Snorlax. You only get, I guess, 2 Snorlaxes.
2 of them.
And then Sudowoodo on Gen 2, just like, oh, yep. And I guess you could technically do it with your legendaries too.
That's true.
Which is kind of crazy, but
Did you know that in Fire Red and Leaf Green, there was a bug in the game to where, so you know how for the legendary beast it depended on what starter you picked? You know about that?
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact order, but so there was a bug in the game where if you had either Entei or Raikou, if you encountered them, they actually knew Roar, and when they used Roar, like they run away, but you would think they would go somewhere else, like a different location. But no, they're the bug in the game. You can't encounter them again. That was your only chance. If they ran away, you can't get them at all.
That sucks.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Brutal.
So you ever going through that? Save your Master Ball if you want one of those two,
Yeah.
or just go with the safe bet and go for Suicune because then you'll catch it.
It's fascinating how unforgiving Pokemon can be in that way when it's technically a children's game. I've always found that interesting. Like, they really kind of make you learn, like, hey, you should be careful and make sure you're paying attention when you play games. Because there's a lot
Teach those kids lessons.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of one-chance stuff in old Pokemon, and I kind of respect it in a way. Like, yeah, it sucks, but, then it feels like you really earned it when you did the right thing, and you got the Pokemon you wanted, you only had one chance to get, So, shout out to old Pokemon. I'm enjoying Crystal. I'm definitely going to see it through. I think I should be able to probably beat it by next episode. I don't think Crystal's horribly long.
No,
I
it's
mean,
No, you can probably get it done.
so here's my question: did I beat Crystal if I don't also beat Kanto?
credits. So I would say so.
Okay, Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would say you beat it, but I still say you should do everything.
I'll say
Especially do like
yeah. It's like I beat
Like,
it, but I
Buffalo-
didn't finish
Kanto
it.
is the post game. Kanto
Yeah.
is the post.
Like-
the post.
like I don't know. I feel like you're about to pull a Christian, our buddy Christian, with a Sonic Adventure. That you
That's
beat
different.
Sonic Story.
He just straight up didn't beat Sonic
Yeah,
Adventure.
Yes.
That's just not correct.
Yes, our friend Bird Dog Gaming, if you're listening, you did not beat Sonic Adventure by finishing Sonic's route. That is not beating Sonic Adventure.
At least you went back and did it. But I don't know. I would say you'd beat it, but I would still say you should go back and do the post game. I mean, it's not long at all.
That's
Like
true.
you could,
Yeah, 'cause
you could
they-
sweep all the gyms.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
cut all
really
the fat
notice
out,
the
right?
time.
Like, it's pretty much just the towns again, so...
Yeah. So I beat
Yeah.
He
this.
still
then
cut
you
the fat out. They just shoved in a little bit extra without much effort. It wasn't cutting the
Yeah.
fat out. They just
and then
put in
I don't
some
know,
unfinished stuff.
go beat Red, so you can say you beat Red, and then you're good.
Yeah, Red's supposed to be, like, really hard, right?
Yeah, he got like all the final starters, Snorlax.
Espeon.
I'm trying to blank. Was it Espeon?
Yep. Espeon, Snorlax, 3 starters, and Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu. Wow, I was drawing a blank on Pikachu.
That is fun
But
that
yeah.
they give him Pikachu, not Raichu. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to do that. I think I'll probably do the post-game. I was just curious on your guys' opinion. Usually I'm not a big post-game person. Usually once I beat a game, I feel like mentally I'm just like, all right, time to move on. So,
Yeah,
But
fair.
we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. So next up, we would like to show any retro games or modern games, doesn't really matter, just games in the collection that we've recently got. Me, I ain't got shit. I didn't buy anything the last couple of weeks. So whoever would like to go first, go ahead and
I only got one
let's
thing.
show off a little.
I've
And
only
Zach,
been
go
pretty
ahead.
busy, so all I got was Stellar Blade.
There
That's
you
literally
go.
all I picked up since last time.
Still need it.
But
I love that
All
artwork
right.
too. It's a cool looking cover.
Yep.
All right, Tyler.
Yep, it's
I
pretty
think
All
I think
right.
Tyler has a big stack, so he'll make up for the rest of us.
Got
Yep.
got 7 things over here, so
Oh
we
my
got a
God.
little decent amount.
There we go.
So one game I've been holding off on getting for a while, but then I ended up getting it from a buddy for a pretty good price. I got a
Oh, okay.
Link's Awakening remake on the Switch.
Shout out
Never
to
had
Link's
it yet.
Awakening. It's a fun game.
Wanted to grab that.
So
Got that.
badly do I want an Earthbound remake in that art style. I always thought that would be such a perfect, like, match made in heaven thing. It won't ever happen, but I just had to throw that out there.
That would look
Mother
really
3
good.
First. We need Mother 3 over here first, and then we'll
Yes, true.
get the
Baby
ball
steps.
rolling.
Let's get the whole series first.
Nintendo, you listening? Let's do it. Okay.
Probably not. I
So,
talked...
yeah, probably not, but we can only hope. Maybe one day. So then I also got Joe's Diner on the PS4. You know, one of the few games in the beginning of the PS5 lifecycle that wasn't backwards compatible with
I
the
remember
PS5.
that. I do remember that.
Yeah. So I ended up getting that. I don't know if they eventually fixed this one or not. I know they fixed a lot of them, but not sure if you can do that one yet.
Still no Hitman Go on PS5 for you trophy collectors out there.
Nope. Another game I picked up, Overpass on the PS4. You know, figured it looked pretty cool. Never seen it before. $10. Why not?
You'll pick up anything on PS4 though. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I mean,
You're
if
a
it's
slut
cheap,
for that
I will.
console.
Okay. Yeah, I am. Got a whole shelf next to me. So then I hopped on the Xbox 360 FOMO train,
There we
and
go.
let's go in this order. All right. So first, I got a Tenchu Z.
Nice.
You know, little From Software game.
Yep.
Got it for only 24. And then when I walked in, I was like, oh, 24, that's a great price compared to what it's going to now. Then once again, they're like, yeah, it's actually everything's 10% off right now. And I was just like, even better, I'll take it.
There you go.
Got that. Then I picked up a copy of Crash Time Autobahn Pursuit. Apparently it is... Well, one friend said it's not that great, but this game started skyrocketing up too. It goes for like $100 now, and it was like $16. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
360's unreal
Didn't
right
pass
now.
up on that one. Yeah, it's... Man... I don't know. I try to think about what's going to come down, because I feel like a lot of it's going to come down, but then I wonder which prices are actually going to stick.
I don't know. I mean, I honestly am in the fully in the camp of 360's gonna die pretty hard once the hype is over, but who knows?
You don't think any's going to stick? Any games?
I think some games will stay elevated, but I don't think a lot of the games are gonna stay in like the $100 range that is shot up there when they were never there to begin with. I mean, even
I think
when the 3DS, you know, when that was like the hype console to collect for, you know, it's like Rhythm Thief was like almost $400 at one point, and now I don't even think it's a $200 game, you know. So it's like a lot of these games will go crazy high, and then they might drop all the way, but they'll definitely drop a significant amount. So if you are a collector out there, do your best not to overpay for these games, because if you find a good deal, obviously, and you want it, buy it if you have the money. But I wouldn't be spending hundreds of dollars on any of these games personally. I don't know if that's a great move at the moment, because a lot of these things come and go and fluctuate. I mean, look at PS3 a few years ago. How many of those games went into triple digits and then plummeted down to like $30, $40 again? So, people get excited.
Speaking of spending hundreds of dollars on 360 games,
no.
I spent just under that, 95. Okay.
That is
For
one of the
Operation
ones.
Darkness.
Yeah, I think Operation Darkness is going to be the ones that does stay higher. I don't think it's going to stay, you know, 200-ish or whatever it is right now, but it's going to stay on the higher end because it's Atlas and it's a Japanese, you know, anime looking game for the 360. That's in and of itself something you don't see very often. So there's Hitler.
Yep, right there. Look at him. Everybody got to know.
There you go.
When I first seen that, I was like, wow, did not know about that. And then for the final pickup, probably the best one I got out of this whole past 2 weeks, I got an N-Gage game.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
WWE Aftershock. You know,
Nice. Is that a hard
another
one to
one
find?
towards the. I mean, it's not totally hard to find, but it usually goes for like $50, $60. And then there was a bid ending soon on eBay, and it was only at like $15. And then
Nice.
I got it right at the end. And then, funny enough, you know who it was from? DK Oldies.
Oh my gosh.
When I seen it, I was like, oh. And they're actually located like an hour away from me.
Are they really?
So, yeah, I got here in like a day or two.
How funny. That's
So
kind
it's
of
pretty
nice.
nice.
You should have just driven down there and be like, yeah, I'll do a store pickup.
In-store pickup.
You know, got the little cases with it. That's what you need when you're looking for N-Gage games. So,
Yeah, they're not technically complete without it, right? Since they all came with it.
exactly.
They didn't give you one of their DK Oldies stickers or whatever the hell they do on those videos?
No, I didn't get anything. I didn't get no keychain. I didn't get, Joey, what's going
Oh
on?
my!
I want a refund.
I can't believe
All
you
right?
weren't on their TikTok. This is awful. How dare they?
I should have went
This
on the
guy
TikTok.
ordered
Like,
You know what?
WWE for
That
the Engage.
that is where I draw
That
the line.
TikTok Vicky would've
I'm
went
not
to
gonna
the
support
moon.
DK Oldies anymore after that because they didn't film you or film
They
getting your
didn't-
game ready for you.
yeah,
Bridge has
I didn't
been
get my
burnt.
N-Gage game. It was packed nice, tons of bubble wrap. Like,
So
like
much
tons,
bubble wrap.
like- I was like unraveling this thing, and I was like, wow, all right, don't think it needs that much, but.
That's so funny. I remember
And those are my pickups.
good stuff. The only time I ever ordered something from DK Oldies, I remember I was so mad because I ordered what was said to be a good condition Black Label GameCube game, and they sent me a greatest hits copy of the game, and like half the artwork was torn off, and I like sent them a message on eBay, and I was just like, this is not good condition. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we're so sorry, we can send you a replacement. I'm like, no, give me my money back. And they're like, all right, you can keep the game too. So I ended up keeping it actually, which was
Oh,
nice.
that's kind of neat.
But I was still annoyed because some GameCube games are just hard to find the non-yellow label versions of, and it was one of them. It's one of the WWE games. I can't remember because I think 2 or 3 of them have Player's Choice. I don't know. I'm not the GameCube expert I used to be. So
You get that set once you're done with Vita. You go back for it.
I would like to go back and try to finish the GameCube. I'm definitely going to collect the GameCube set again one day. I'm just not in a rush because, I mean, it's still my favorite console of all time, but I kind of just like collecting handheld stuff. I still think handheld stuff is just the best. Like, I love my Vita, I love my 3DS. I would love to just, keep buying, Game Boy stuff and everything eventually. So GameCube will always have my heart. It'll always be my number one. I kept all the super impossible to find stuff, but I'm not in a rush. It's not going anywhere. None of those games are impossible to find, so they're just overpriced.
What color GameCube do you have?
Yes. I have all of them.
Yes.
Basically.
What was your first GameCube?
My first was black. I remember it was Christmas 2002. I got my GameCube from Santa that year. I'll always remember because I was opening
shout
up
out to Santa.
Yeah,
Santa.
Shout out to Santa. I remember I was opening up Christmas gifts and I opened up a copy of Mario Sunshine and I was devastated because I was like, "Oh, Mom and Dad, they're like, why are you sad?" I was like, "Santa must not know I don't have a GameCube. I can't play this game on my N64." And then the next thing I opened up my GameCube and I was like, so it was like,
It's funny,
the
speaking
greatest
of
thing
that,
ever.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to go with my family. We'd always go to this it was like a firehouse kind of thing, like a special event that my grandfather was a part to with the club. And we would go there, and then every time they would have like Santa come, you'd sit on his lap and say, "What you want for Christmas?" I remember I said I wanted a GameCube, and you know what I didn't get that year? A GameCube.
No
I was
GameCube.
really upset.
You're like,
No,
"Hey,
Santa did
Santa
me.
didn't
He
listen to
probably
me."
gave you my GameCube. He gave you my
He
GameCube.
delivered it to the wrong house.
I hate to say it, Tyler. I also got a GameCube that Christmas, so
That's so funny.
that's where I got my GameCube.
That's so
I got a
funny.
stack of.
Don't love me no more.
Yeah, I remember.
I got Mario Sunshine and SSX Tricky and the Mickey. What's it? Mickey and the Magical Mirror or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, Magic
And then a
Mirror
bunch of other
Talking Mickey
versions.
Mouse or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember I got Smash Bros. I got Mario Sunshine, and I think that was it. I think I just got those 2 games with it. But that's all you need as a kid to be happy is Melee.
For sure.
Melee and Sunshine is definitely enough. Even as an adult, I'm like, Melee is all I need to be entertained for thousands of hours. So
What was your
Yeah.
reaction in Melee when you found out you could unlock Mewtwo?
Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I remember spending so long trying to unlock him. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I remember the fake, I forget what magazine it was, but my dad used to always subscribe to like every big gaming magazine back then, because my dad's always been a very big video game fan as well. And we had that magazine that like lied and said that Sonic was an unlockable character back in the day. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. So when I was a kid, I didn't know that it was fake. So I remember trying everything to try to unlock Sonic, and I was so disappointed when my dad was like, "Son, you've been bamboozled."
Hey, at
It's
least we
not
finally
real.
got Sonic.
And I was like, it has to be real, Dad. It's in the magazine. The magazine wouldn't lie to me. And it was like an April Fool's issue or something crazy like that. But good times.
Big the Cat for the next Smash Brothers.
That'd be
calling
so
it.
I'll
fun.
take Big the Cat. Yeah.
Dude, I would be a Big the Cat main like nobody's business.
His grab would be the fishing rod,
Yeah, it'd be
and he'd like
perfect.
grab you. Yeah.
I could probably think of a whole moveset
Big
for
the
my
Cat.
hands. Yes, by John St. John. Let's go.
It says, Froggy, where are you?
Froggy.
All right.
Froggy?
Not retro by any means, but since we're talking about Big the Cat, I got to shout out to Fishing and Sonic Frontiers. I did that for so many hours.
good.
I thought it was so fun.
I would just sit there and listen to the music and just
Dude,
kind of.
The only thing
that
I was...
That was one of my most played Spotify songs last year. Was the Fishing
So
music
good.
from Sonic Frontiers.
So
my
good.
only, like, thing I was upset about is they should have, like, threw in Froggy as, like, a special catch. Like, if
for
you
sure.
fought everything, like, the last one, be like, oh, look, you got Froggy. Like, that would have been perfect.
That would have been awesome. And even, you know what? I'll gladly defend the fishing, even in Sonic Adventure. It's not nearly as bad or as difficult as people say it is. Pretty sure we talked about this last episode. I need to stop talking about
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure.
You just spoiled my first cozy game. No, I'm kidding. But,
Dude, okay, so I will say I almost put it on there because
I almost...
Station Square during sunset, there is no better vibe. Like the vaporwave vibes it gives off, oh, it's unreal. So good. But yeah, good pickups, Tyler. That was pretty neat stuff.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, if you all out there are going for 360 stuff right now, I hope you're having fun. Just be mindful and don't overpay. I wouldn't be paying eBay prices for any of this stuff personally. I don't think
Don't
that's the move.
overpay.
Now go to
And
your
if you
local
find it
stores
cheap-
or go to GameStop. Honestly, a lot of GameStops still have 360 games. They're all going to be on the cheaper side. I found a 360 game there. I forget it. It's like NFL The Hits or Blitz or one of those ones I saw at GameStop a few weeks ago for like $40, and that's like a game easily trending for over $100. So GameStop isn't going to.
And you left it.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I did leave it. So I was gonna buy it honestly just to resell it, and then I was like, no, I'll leave it here, and maybe some other collector will have
Could have traded it for a $100 GameCube game.
Well, I was thinking like maybe some 360 collector or somebody that just really wants the game will have it and be happy. But the reality is someone else probably bought it and just sold it like I was gonna do anyway. So
100%.
my good deed probably didn't actually do anything, but in my mind I felt like I did a nice thing for some random guy out there. So. All right, next up, we have a new section to the show. So this was our boy Tyler's idea. He thought it'd be fun to give us a little weekly history lesson. So Tyler, why don't you give us a little retro history for something that happened around this time many years ago?
All right, so around this time, many years ago, I'm pretty much going to scale it between the past 2 weeks for like that we didn't record.
Mm-hmm.
So from the last episode till now, that's what we're going to do. For game releases, I focused on just US releases. There's some exceptions. We'll get to there.
Mm-hmm.
But that, and just a couple news stories. And I don't want to take all the credit for this. My buddy Jason gave me the idea. So Jason, if you're watching this, thanks for the idea.
Shout
It was
out to
pretty cool. I
Jason.
liked it. So let's see. So first off, April 16th, I just threw this one in here. Mystical Ninja, the Gomon N64.
Mm-hmm.
That is 26 years old on April 16th.
Look at that. We're old.
Yeah. So April 18th, we actually had a pretty big anniversary. Can you guys guess what it is? Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. Is it a game or a series?
It's a game.
I think I actually know. Is it Chrono Trigger?
Nope.
Okay. Then I don't know.
Zach, any guesses?
Super Metroid. I don't know.
Yep,
Random
you're
guess.
right. Good job.
Oh, yeah, Super Metroid. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yes.
Everyone
see,
knows
be
the
more
18th
confident.
of
Be
April.
more
is Super
confident.
April
Nintendo.
18th. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Super Metroid, I was kind of shocked. I didn't know about that. And my first experience with Super Metroid was actually like 2 years ago I first played it for this.
So good. Can we
And
talk
man.
about how perfect Super Metroid is for a second? Like that's one of
Really
the
is.
like it is not like a personal like all-time favorite game of mine, but like I feel like objectively it's like one of like maybe like 5 games that are basically flawless. It's so good. It's so good. I love Super Metroid.
I agree. I
Executes on
really
its
enjoyed it
goals
from when I
very
played it.
well.
Hmm.
So this one I threw in here because I wanted to ask you, Craig, about it because I never played it,
Hmm.
but it came out on the same day as Super Metroid, but 22 years ago. The Ark the Lad collection on PS1. Did you ever play
Oh,
that?
okay. No, I haven't. I've always been interested in the series. I actually have all of the Arc the Lad games loaded up on my Vita, so that's one of those things I plan on trying to marathon at some point. But I don't know too much about them. I believe that was working designs though, right, on the PS1?
I believe so, yes.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it got one of those big fancy boxes that they used to do back in the day.
Oh,
So
yeah,
good stuff.
man. Those are so nice, and every time I want to get the Lunar ones, but every time I see them, it's like, oh, missing pendant, missing this. And I'm like, no, I gotta get it complete.
It's hard because there's so
Gotta
many
get it.
little pieces. It's easy for something to not be there.
So, April 19th, we had a arcade classic anniversary. Dig Dug, 42 years old.
Nice. That
Who would
is.
have
2 years
imagined?
old.
I know. Dig
Yeah.
Dug's probably one of my favorite arcade games. I love Dig Dug. I've never been very good at it. It stresses me out.
Dude,
But it is very satisfying popping them bitches with your little inflation
yeah.
gun. So shout out to that.
So,
I think
you,
of
you
Wii Shop
know,
Wednesday when I hear Dig Dug.
We Shop Wednesday.
Yeah.
so, I'm like a trophy whore, who would have guessed? But, Dig Dug on the PlayStation 4, man, had a trophy where you had to dig out 1,000 spaces
Oh my
in one
god.
go. You had to clear out a whole board going top and bottom, left and right, like, I think 6 or 7 times.
That must have been
And, like,
brutal.
with one dude, I wanted to stop. I was like, I might not get this platinum trophy, but eventually I did it, and I don't think I touched Dig Dug since. But all right, after that one, April 20th, it's actually an anniversary of a game I still want to play that's in my collection, but I am missing the console. Knuckles Chaotix, 29 years.
Okay. There
Hmm.
we go.
Craig, you ever play Knuckles Chaotix?
Yeah, I'm not big on it, but it does have one of the best soundtracks I think of all the Sonic games. The music in it is absolutely slapping. And I don't know, it's so funny because for a long time that game was such an air of mystery to me because I knew about it as a kid, but there was not really any way to play it. And obviously with emulation now it's easy to play anything old for the most part. So it was kind of sad when I finally played it and realized it wasn't good. But I always will think that aesthetically and sound wise, it is one of the top tier Sonic games just in terms of sprite work and music. So shout out to Knuckles Chaotix.
So, also April 20th, 18 years ago. Craig, that ring a bell to you?
April 20th? You said
Yep,
18 years ago?
18 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's Mother 3. So,
Yep, Mother
yep.
3's. That is the one game that I threw on here. I was like, Japan, gotta throw it on here for our boy Craig,
It's
his
the
favorite
great
game of all time.
favorite game of all time.
Gotta
I
throw it on
always
here.
think it's fun because my favorite game of all time and my favorite album of all time, Blue Sky Noise by Circus Survive, share a birthday 420. So I always thought it was funny how that worked
Oh,
out
okay.
because I was like, what are the chances of that? So, yes.
Neat.
Oh, just because I'll be able to show it next show, I'm excited. I was able to order that Mother 3 plush set that came out. I'm super
Oh,
Oh,
excited
I've
to
seen
see
yeah.
that.
that. Apparently, it's sold
Yep.
out now, so I'm glad I got it right away. I felt really guilty about it because it was like not cheap, but there's not a lot of merch for Mother 3, so like there's a lot of
Oh, it
Earthbound
says you gotta
merch.
get what you can.
Exactly, there's a lot of Earthbound merch, but there's not a lot of Mother 3 merch. So, and I'm a very very big plush guy. I keep saying I'm gonna bring all my plushes and put them back there, and then I have guests, so I just never do it. But
You
one
gotta do
day,
that video
yes,
for your channel.
one day there will be the Craig's Game Room plush collection video. It's just
Once you get that
it's a
croc
lot,
plush. Once you get that
dude.
croc plush.
There is a croc plush out there that there's like maybe 10, and it is a dream item of mine. So maybe one day.
So, April 21st, 24 years ago, this one was pretty cool. Sonic Team was founded in Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
that was a pretty cool anniversary. All three of us love Sonic games as we were talking earlier in
Sure.
this show.
I'm a Sonic hater and a
Uh,
Sonic lover.
yeah, and that's how we all are.
Got my Sonic King Ice right here.
Let's
That's
go, the fire
oh,
ice. Put that
true
on.
Sonic fan
Put
right
that
there.
on. That's
Yeah,
baller.
give me a sec. I'll put it on for the rest of the
You
episode.
got to stunt
Yeah,
on
you
us.
need it.
All right, I need to know real quick because I actually don't know. Give me your guys' favorite Sonic games. I don't know. Like, what's your favorite Sonic game if you had to pick
My
one?
favorite's just Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay, respectable.
Because yeah, I mean,
I love it.
I I played Sonic Adventure 2 before Sonic Adventure one.
Mhm.
Really, I just love the Chow Garden so much, and I don't know why they refuse to put it in a new game. They just won't do it.
Dude,
I don't.
even
They would
even
make
just make a mobile game. I would spend so much money if there was like a
it
mobile
make
Chow game.
no sense with how
I
games
have those
work
too,
now, with like
Tyler.
live service, and microtransactions, all that stuff. Sega could make so much money on a Chow Garden, and I'm glad they're not like taking advantage of that particularly. But I'm still very surprised they haven't made a new Chow Garden in
Oh
so long.
no, they could make me
That-
homeless if they release something like that. Like I'm
so
glad that it
crazy.
doesn't exist for that reason, but it would be so cool. And there, it really is no reason not to bring it back. They've admitted that they know, like the
Yeah.
love dedication. It's like I have no God. I can't get over that necklace. It's so funny and so cool. I'm just looking at it now. It's so
Yeah.
fun. I love it.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't like the last thing they actually did with the Chows was like put him as a racer in Team Sonic Racing? Other than that, like that was the last thing.
Probably because there's no presence in Frontiers.
Like it's crazy.
I don't think there's any presence in Colors, right? Yeah, I don't know.
No.
That must be it, which is
It's
insane.
yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about.
Unfortunate.
It
Tyler,
really
what's your
sucks.
favorite Sonic game? Since I don't know.
So I do really like Sonic Adventure 2,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Sonic Adventure would be my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because that's the first one I played, and I remember going through that game as a kid, and when I beat everybody's story, and then the Supersonic story pops up and it's just question mark. I was like, well, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. The
and it
great
doesn't really
moment.
give you that great of guidance, and I'm going around like, oh, but man, once you get to that
Yes.
Supersonic Ultimate Chaos fight,
Life
perfect.
changing.
You know,
And
best
if you
hits.
out there haven't played it, you got to play the Dreamcast version. It really is that much better than every subsequent port after that. Uh, the water just doesn't look the same. There's a lot more glitches. The Dreamcast version is the best version. That's also my favorite Sonic game, Sonic Adventure. Yeah, I truly don't think it's biased though, because I had a Dreamcast growing up, and it was my first Sonic game. My dad bought a Dreamcast in 99.99 because he wanted all the Sega Sports games, and he got Sonic for me, and I've loved it ever since. But I've replayed it subsequently every year for the last like 5 years, 6 years. I don't even know now. I always replay it, and every year I'm like, no, it's still great.
Yep.
When people
Sonic
say
Adventure
that
is a great
when
game.
people say it doesn't hold up, I'm just like, I'm convinced it must be the version they're playing, because I've played the PS3 port, I've played the 360 port, the GameCube port, and the Dreamcast original. The GameCube port is by far the worst, in my opinion, and I
Hey,
think that's the
Sonic
version.
Adventure DX is a great game.
No, and it is, but it I think personally that's the one
Yeah.
I had the most problems with in terms
Yeah.
of like glitches and freakouts and things like that. And I think that's the version that most people have played, and I think that's part of what's given Sonic Adventure a bad rep. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
one
have
of
so
my
much stuff just right
that's
next
one
to
of
me. I
my
can get
favorite
up.
plushes that I'm excited to show off eventually. Is there's a Chaos plush that's pretty
Oh, the
rare,
Chaos one.
and I have that. I actually got that in person. When I first moved to Las Vegas, I found an anime store that was carrying it, so I bought that back then, and it's been in my possession ever since.
It's so funny that chows are called chows, and
And then
they're
there's
just
Chaos.
it's just spelled chaos.
I know. It's always been a little because I'm like, how do you spell Chows then?
Yeah.
So
The world may never
moving on
know.
our yeah, Sega, if you're listening, chows, bring him back. Thanks. Uh, moving on to from Tyler's history lesson. April 22nd, 17 years ago. This was a DS game, but I figured I'd bring it up just because Craig, you like it, and I like it as well. Zach, I'm sure you do. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out
My
that
games.
day. That was actually like the first Pokemon game that I got with like my own money. Saved up, I pre-ordered it, got it day one.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, no, I meant day one. I got other ones my own. Yeah, you know what I mean.
No, yeah,
But yeah,
that was the game that really got me into the Pokemon games. So it'll always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
that was one of the first games I remember knowing the release date was coming. I woke my mom up the morning of, and she drove me to Walmart. I went to the game guy at the counter, and they didn't have them out yet. So he like frustratingly walked to the back and brought me Pokemon Diamond. I was like, I would like Pokemon Pearl. So he had to go back and get Pokemon Pearl.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the
So
only game I've ever maxed out a clock on. Back in the day when I was a kid, I did max
nine
out the
nine nine
clock.
59.
I was
Yeah.
I was so proud of that. Yeah, because
That's crazy to think about. 1,000 hours. Just think about that
Yeah.
for
I
a
don't
second.
I don't even know how I did that because there's not that much content in the game. But when me and
Yeah.
my friends, it's literally all I would do was all the underground stuff, the main story. I went for all the legendaries that you could get back in the day. Me and my friends would battle each other constantly. I was super into the online trading. I thought it was so fun. Uh, I used to
GTS.
yeah,
Hmm.
and then for my birthday that year, I went and bought or I asked for like the older Pokemon games. That way I could transfer Pokemon from the old games into it. So for those of you that don't know, it was so cool back in the day because the DS had the Game Boy Advance slot. Is you would be able to transfer your Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance games into the DS that way. It was a one-time deal though, so you had to make sure you're okay with trading them to the newer
It was
games.
so tedious though.
It was, but
6
it
at a
was
You had to play
time. You had to
that
do that
little
little
mini
catching
game.
mini game.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, that
Yeah.
was the way to do it. I remember I played through all of Pokemon Fire Red after I went through my big Pokemon Diamond phase, and I traded all of my Pokemon over, and then just I don't even know. It's so funny to think. I'm like, how did I max out the clock in that game as a child? But I did. I just was totally obsessed, and
Yeah.
it has to be my most played game of all time wise. And I don't know if I'll ever play another game for 1,000 hours. So.
You mentioned the DS and like the Game Boy Advance slot. I can't remember if it's Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, or Heart Gold, Soul Silver. One of the DS games or one series of them. Um, if you have games in the bottom slot, it would change encounters you would get.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Different
like
exclusives.
Yeah, Ruby Sapphire Emerald or the Fire Red Leaf Green, you would get different exclusives for what game was in the bottom slot, which is kind of cool.
That is so
Yeah.
cool. Man, I miss weird old tech in video games like that.
Yep.
Like I know we don't have a need for strange things like that anymore because things just kind of work now. But the way you used to
It's
have it,
unfortunate.
yes. But
Yeah.
I miss how creative we used to get with our technology in the video game space specifically. It was really cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Sometimes wish we can go back to those times. Let's see. Moving on. April 26th, we have two different things. So first, it was the 25th anniversary of Smash Bros. On the N64 in North
Let's
America.
fucking go.
Who was everybody's main?
I love when I was a kid it was
Oh,
definitely
Smash
Link.
64.
It had to be Link.
Yeah, probably Link for Smash 64. If I was going back now, I like playing as Luigi, but
Mm.
that's the one I have played the least of, and they won't put it on NSO. I do not understand why it's not there.
Yeah, it's
But
weird because for a while I was like, maybe they don't want it to compete with the newer game, but I'm like, they have Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
and that game came out like almost 6 years ago. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they did DLC, but whatever. Come on, like,
Because
put Smash
how
64
cool
on
would
there.
it be if you could play Smash 64 online with random people? That would be
It'd
so
be,
cool.
Yeah.
it'd be even just with your friends, it would be a
Mm-hmm.
blast. I don't understand why they don't do it.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that happens eventually, but I don't know. Yeah, I love Smash 64. I'm so nostalgic, especially for the character models in that game. I love the
Yep.
character models, the way that they stylize them all to look together. It's so cool. Absolutely.
So,
Tyler, Who's your main,
oh
Tyler?
yeah, back to my main. So it was also Link, but
Mm,
I feel like I used a 50-50 with Link and Pikachu,
there you go.
to be fair.
Yeah,
Really like Pikachu in
and
that game.
shout out because that's how most people in America found out about Earthbound. So you gotta
Yeah.
always give props there too.
And your main wasn't Ness.
No,
I'm ashamed.
I didn't know about Earthbound until like the
Yeah.
2010s. I was way behind on that. I was one of those cool kids hanging out on Starman.net back in the 90s. As much as I wish I was.
So also April 26, 2006 was when Nintendo announced the name of the Wii.
Oh, okay,
Hmm.
that's fun.
Pretty cool. Yeah, a little cool. And then
Wasn't
we're
its
moving
code
on.
name like Revolution or something like that before
Yeah.
that? Revolution.
I remember when we got the Game Informer magazine in the mail that showed the Wiimote, and me and my dad were both like, well, "This looks dumb." We were not excited at the time. And then when I got a Wii for Christmas that year, I played Twilight Princess for the entire day.
I played Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Oh, I'm so
Oh
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry for your
That's
loss.
Didn't you
awful
play it
game.
like with the remote sideways?
You
Then you
tilted the
like auto
controller
run.
forward and
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So
Man.
when I was a kid, there's 3 games I bought with my own money that I got for like holidays and birthdays, and they really sucked. That was one of them. The other one I remember I did not like the Knights game on Wii. Maybe I'd like it more now, but back in the day I just didn't get it. And then I'll always remember buying Sonic 06 with my own money that I got for Christmas that year from my grandma because she gave me a $50 bill. My dad was like, "I'll pay the tax if you want the new Sonic game," and it was the first time I realized that video games could be bad. I didn't know that video games could be bad until I bought that game, and it was like it was 2006, so I was 11, and I was just like, "This is awful." I was like, "Oh my god, I wasted my Christmas money. This isn't fun." Like I was so confused because I'd never played a bad video game up until that point, and I'll always remember that was the first time I played a video game, and I was sad.
We always talk, or I always wanted Sonic Adventure 3 growing up because how much I like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm fairly convinced that Sonic 06 was Sonic Adventure 3 and everything but name, and Sega just doesn't want to ever admit. I mean, they even added like a third hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
Like they.
I think it is as well. I think that was the original idea. Was it was supposed to be Adventure 3? That's the vibe I always got as well.
Yeah.
Just a little side note. I still don't get why we keep getting all these remakes and remasters of all these Sonic games, but not Adventure. When all of us are asking for Adventure, and we're all like, we want Sonic Adventure. Oh, Sonic Colors, here you go. We want Sonic Adventure. Generations, take this.
And Shadow.
Eggman, get a load of this. You know,
I'm not excited about that. That is so unnecessary. Honestly, the Generations remaster.
I get why they're doing Generations and Shadow because the movie coming out.
True.
But
I wonder what else game.
Sonic Adventure 2 Battle would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything
else. Or just let me get them on modern platforms and just play them. Yeah. Why can't I just download it? The original, I don't care.
I know. I've always thought that was strange that they haven't ported Adventure 1 and 2 in some way. I mean,
wasn't it on the PS3?
Yeah, they have it on PS3 and 360. You can get them, but so you can technically play them on Series S and X on modern if you have a newer Xbox. So that's kind of nice, but PlayStation and Nintendo, you're shit out of luck, unfortunately.
So weird.
Which is a shame. There's no reason that should be that way.
So, I have 3 more things. 2 are news stories, one's a release.
Sweet.
So, 1982, Craig, I picked this one out specifically for you.
Ooh.
Universal tells Nintendo of America and Coleco Industries to destroy all copies of Donkey Kong due to infringement of the King Kong film.
That's fun.
That's when that happened.
That's so weird. That was such a strange thing that happened.
Nobody knows yet. Craig has a big fascination of Peter Jackson's King Kong.
It is not a fascination. It's an obsession, thank you.
That's what I meant.
Not only do I always champion the game because it's the best licensed game of all time, it is truly one of the best movies ever made, too, especially if you like kaiju, like monster movies. It is so good. It doesn't need to be like 3.5 hours long like it is, but I do absolutely adore that movie. I think it's so good.
The next Nintendo movie, instead of being like Super Mario Brothers 2, whatever, it's Shigeru Miyamoto's Donkey Kong.
Specifically Shigeru Miyamoto's, Peter Jackson's. That'd be awesome.
Exactly.
That'd be so funny. I wish. I wouldn't be upset about it. I think we're gonna get more Nintendo movies, like spin-off kind of things eventually. Especially since they're doing the Donkey Kong Land that they're adding to Universal and stuff. I think they're gonna start trying to make Donkey Kong more of a thing again. I think we're gonna get another Donkey Kong 64 and stuff eventually, a game of that style. I just feel like the theme park is the tell to me, because why are they making a whole extension of a theme park of this character unless they're going to try to capitalize him more in some way? It would be kind of weird, right? I mean, I know
I'm still hoping
is stupid.
We get a new Donkey Kong game this year. Not only from a fantasy critic, but yeah.
That was in retrospect that was an odd choice because he doesn't even do a voice. It's just Seth Rogen.
Just Seth Rogen. Just Seth Rogen.
So funny.
So this one I thought was kind of unique, so I figured I threw it in here. In 1997, also on April 28th, is when 3DO agrees to sell its hardware systems business to Samsung Electronics. Take a guess for how much? Back in 1997.
$54 million.
$20 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so much money for back then. That's crazy.
It honestly is, and yeah, it's pretty neat. Best one of all, though. So April 28th, this is the last one I got.
All right.
Shrek 2 was released.
Like the game or the movie? Or both?
The game.
There we go. So I've never played the Shrek 2 game.
I don't know if the movie came out the same day,
I
but the
actually
game,
heard the Shrek 2
2
game is pretty good. Have either of you guys ever played it?
I think I might have as a kid, but
The only Shrek game I have is the one of the Game Boy Color. I think it's Fairy Tale Freak Down or something like that. Can't remember what it's called.
That's a great
It's like a
name.
fighting, it's like a
Fairytale
fighting game.
Breakdown. Sounds like a
It's like a fighting
like a
game.
porn parody.
It kind of is. It's like a 2D fighting game, and I did a speed run of it, and I'm like 13th out of 14th in the world.
No
So
way.
yeah, so
That's awesome.
second to last. Yeah,
How's
I
your Grimace
Very tough.
birthday
So
thing
if I go
holding
to
up?
speedrunning.net or whatever, I'll see your name on the leaderboard for that.
yeah. I'll try to find it in the meantime, but
That's awesome. That makes me
yeah,
so happy. So,
yep.
I do have, for you super duper nerd video game collectors out there, I'll give you a fun little rundown. There's 3 variants of Shrek on the Shrek 2 on the GameCube, and one of them you would never know unless you're looking. So there is the regular version, in the code on the disc is just USA, and then there's the player's choice version, which is USA-002. Now, there was a revision of a black label that came with a USA-001 disc. So, not that this matters to anyone or anything, but if you're a super nerd collector like me, and you like finding weird, random, uncommon variants that people don't know about, there is, like, a secret third version of Shrek on the GameCube that has no difference than the case artwork, but there is a disc revision. So, there's your fun little GameCube fact.
Yeah, so I looked it up real quick. I'm 18th out of 20.
Oh, you dropped.
With,
You fell down the
with a
list.
top, I know, with a time of 5 minutes and 14 seconds, but I'm 8th place of people who played on original hardware. Everyone else
Oh.
is playing on emulators. So
Wow,
Oh,
so you're a real gamer. The rest of these
I'm a real
chumps are
gamer.
cheating. They're probably playing on fast forward.
yeah,
Doesn't even
probably.
count.
The record's 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and I'm 5 minutes and 14 seconds.
Got to step
so
up
I
your
could
game.
shoot on your next live stream being trying to get higher on the leaderboard of that,
I
right?
know.
Yeah,
Next
just-
year when
just
I
I feel
watch
like that'd be a great live stream.
next year when I watch Awesome Games Done Quick or Summer Games Done Quick, you better be there playing
Oh, because
Fairy
I'll be
Freak
here.
down.
Yeah.
Could have generations behind, me and Craig on the couch, you playing the game, we're going through all your tactics, and we're like, all right, and we're done.
God,
There
dude,
we go.
I love
That'd be a blast.
watching those when they have like the couch of the 3 like biggest dorks in the world about a specific game telling you about how they're totally manipulating everything. I find it so fascinating. I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
I
like
GDQ is
using-
awesome.
I would love to know that much about one game. For a while, I was decent at Fire Emblem's Awakening speedrunning. I was never even close to like any kind of leaderboard thing, but I started memorizing like all the maps and how to just beat the game as fast as possible, and that was super fun. But I don't know, I don't have it in me to speedrun a game and that be the only thing I play for basically my entire life. I wish I had that
remember-
kind of motivation.
I remember for speedrunning, talking about that, I watched this like whole documentary on like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom speedrunning. And dude, they were like hours long each one, and I just sat through and watched them all. 'Cause it's so cool how they constantly find new things, like even today for games that old. Or like it's something so dumb, like there was one part where they found one area loaded quicker if you put like some kind of toothpaste or something on your
No,
disc
yeah,
and you
people
put it
were
in your
licking their
console.
discs and making their discs
Yeah.
dirtier because it would make it like load faster.
Mhm.
It was I'm like,
That's crazy.
it is insane the things people find
Yeah.
out. My favorite thing in the world is like looking into like glitch hunters, like people that just bash their head against the wall for hours finding ways to break through things in games. I think that's so cool. If you're one of
Yeah,
those
do
people
like
out
those
there, you're my
cartridge
hero.
companies,
I
and-
think that's so fun. I think it is so cool that there's people out there that care enough to just find out the most obscure stuff that, let's be honest, doesn't matter at all, but that's what makes it so fun. That's what makes it so fascinating. I think about, obviously Summoning Salt is a big YouTuber when it comes to like speedrunning content. I also like Tomato Anus, if you guys have ever watched him. Great name, by the way. But I love these YouTubers that just cover speedrunning. There's a lot of good ones out there, and it's one of my
I'm
favorite
familiar with
subjects in
Summoning
the world.
Salt, but never heard of Tomato Anus.
He is so funny. You have to watch Tomato Anus as well. He does similar. So Summoning Salt's more like history would be like throughout the years this is how people have progressed, and then Tomato Anus is more like he'll take a specific run and like break it down, be like, this is what they're doing here to do this to get to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like he's like doing deep explanation of how the speed run is being performed, which is really cool. So different type of content, kind of same general field, but shout out to speedrunners. As you could tell, we all love you very
Doing God's
much.
work out here.
Mm-hmm. Another game that I speedran at one point was Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, I believe it was called, on the GameCube. There's an exploit where the lair to the final boss, it just has a wonky hitbox, and you could just break into it from the very beginning of the game and fight the final boss is the first thing you do. So that's pretty fun. So I've beaten that game in like under 10 minutes before, which is pretty fun.
I think my favorite speedrun that I watch in general, which all you guys should go watch it because it's on YouTube and it's on Daily Beatings channel, is Grimace's Birthday.
Did you
One of a
speedrun that?
kind video. Yeah, go watch it. Great video.
Okay,
10 out of 10 recommend.
let me check the speedrun list.
Did you really speedrun
I
it?
was, yeah.
I played it. I beat it one time. Yes.
He was like, "Oh yeah, come on, get the shake, oh yeah."
I'm a 49 out of 50.
You made the list. That's all that matters. Is you made the
With a-
list.
With a time of 9 minutes and 43 seconds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go watch it.
That makes
And
me
50
so happy.
is 15 minutes. So I'm glad that both these came up in this video. It's awesome.
Dude, I love you guys. You guys are so fun. I'm glad we do this show together. We're all so
Yeah.
stupid.
It's been a great time.
We're having a good time here. We're talking about our speed runs and our time wasted on Pokemon Diamond. It doesn't get much better than this.
And throwing our $500 copies of Pokemon Emerald.
Exactly. That made me very
It landed
happy.
on my futon though. It landed
I
on
can't
the
believe you
futon.
did
Yeah,
that,
was,
honestly.
was
was,
that like
that's
was that aimed? Were you hoping it would land on the futon, or were you just
Yeah,
like,
that was the
were
whole
you
gimmick.
praying it wouldn't hit something worse?
I knew it would land on the futon. I was like, all right, if I have it right here, dude, perfect. I was like, I'm gonna do this.
That was awesome. That made me very happy. So, I like that. If you guys like Tyler's history lesson, let us know down below. We're probably going to keep it every week. I think it's a fun thing to kind of go through time, since this show
Sure.
is very focused on old shit anyway. So, it's fun to talk about old stuff. All right, now...
Hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes. We could get to the topic of the show, which is retro cozy games. So, fellas, I guess... Zach, you will probably be going a bit more in-depth than us as you've been playing your cozy games and we kind of skipped you on the what we've been playing section, so feel free to go as long as you want. I mean, I know we all do that anyway because we all have a lot to say about the stuff that we love. But Zach,
Sure.
why don't you go ahead and start us off? What is one of your retro cozy games?
So I'm going to start off with like what, in my opinion, the most like by the numbers cozy game on my list, and it's just Animal Crossing GameCube.
There we go.
I played this game a lot as a kid, but 5 or 6 years ago, my GameCube memory card corrupted, wiped out all my saves. So I knew I wanted to replay and like refinish Animal Crossing. And several months ago, I started doing that. Kind of fell out of it, and then after that video, 2 weeks or our episode 2 weeks ago, I decided I would start playing it more. So I've been playing Animal Crossing, like, not every day, but like every couple days, going back and playing the original Animal Crossing. It's a lot of fun. Have y'all played Animal Crossing? Just like,
Oh,
like
100%, yeah.
yeah, Tyler, you said you haven't.
So I have not. I got a little story about mine if
really?
y'all
Okay.
want to hear it.
Sure.
So, same exact one, Animal Crossing on the GameCube. This was my attempt to play the game.
Mhm.
Attempt. So, one day I was out yard sailing. I think this was like 2020, 2021 when everything was crazy and prices were through the roof. That game cost like $120, something like that. So, out yard sailing, went down this one alley, and this like little table set up by this garage, and I was like, oh, let's go see what she got. Walked up, and I was like, oh, there's nothing. I looked down, there was a milk crate with a GameCube in it, Animal Crossing, and a whole bunch of other GameCube games, and I was like, whoa, open Animal Crossing, had the memory card, everything. And I was like, all right, that's pretty sweet, And it said $25. So I was like, all right, I'll grab that. So I went to get it, and then she was like, we were talking for a bit, and I was like, oh, how's business been going today, And then we talked for a while, and she's like, you know what, just give me 20. And then I was like, oh, okay, fine. Gave her 20, went on my merry way, came home, went to test everything, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm popping Animal Crossing. Well, actually, hold on, I missed a whole little thing. So she told me that it was her brother's that passed away, and, she just wanted to get it out of the house and all that. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I'm sorry for your loss, all that. Fast forward, get home, go to pop in the game, pop in the memory card and all that.
Oh no.
Start the game up, and then like it boots up and they welcome me back. And they're like, oh, welcome back. It's been a while since you came to like, little village. And I was like, turning that off. Not gonna play that. So yeah, haven't touched it since.
That
It's
is
over there on
very
the shelf.
that's very sad and very sweet, but I totally would have wanted to look through because I don't know, that's so interesting.
I
Like,
mean, I still could. I never deleted it.
you
It's
know,
just
I'm
there. But I was
like
like, man, that makes me feel some type of way.
I understand this lady and her sorrow too, but I don't know, that's almost like a living memory of the person. It's kind of beautiful in a
Yeah,
way.
Yeah.
you can't delete
No,
that. You
you
got to
can
keep
Oh,
never.
that
I'm not
safe.
going
For
to.
sure, you can
No.
never delete it, but in a way, that's super beautiful. It's like this guy almost like lives on through this like kind of
Yeah.
simulation in a way. It's actually really sweet. I love that.
Yeah. So
That's
it's a
really
pretty
cool.
cool little story. But one day I'll check it out.
hmm And
See what it's all about.
I have a lifelong history with Animal Crossing. I've been playing since the
Oh.
GameCube days. I've played many hundreds of hours of that, and Wild World, and City Folk, and New Leaf, and New Horizons is the one I played the least.
Amiibo Festival?
I did play
Amiibo Festival.
Amiibo Festival is a little overhated. It definitely shouldn't have been $60, but it's fun. It's fun, to play like a round or two.
$60. What do you mean? I found mine at Five Below.
Exactly. But yeah, shout out. I love Animal
Yeah.
Crossing. Wild World was my favorite as a kid. As an adult, the GameCube one is actually still my favorite. I just really appreciate the simplicity of it.
Oh, it's so fun.
I
It's so
love it,
good.
and I love how the writing in it is hilarious. Everything's a little bit more tedious, and you really have to work for it. Like even just doing fossils, it's like you have to get them, then mail them off, and the wait to
You
get
have
them
to
back.
mail them off. It's so funny going back and like, because New Horizons is, it's still got its quirks and its like annoying Nintendo-y things. But a lot of things have been like streamlined and like made a lot better quality of life. The GameCube, like the thing that gets me is the inventory. You have 15 slots, and that feels so small. Um, and then just like switching items takes time. And yeah, you mentioned the museum. Mailing off the museum, the fossils is, and you only if you dig 5 fossils up, you can only get 3 back a day.
Yeah,
So you have to like wait the next day to get the other ones. It's like, come on.
yeah, it's a
Um,
lot.
but it's fun. The NPC, I like the NPCs. I feel like have a lot more character in this one because they're kind of mean to you sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, and
That's super fun.
there's a lot. There's a lot of the same unique NPCs still show up, and it's really cool to see them. Like, because I played a lot of New Horizons, and then coming back to this game, like all this time later, it's really cool to see how far it's come. Um, yeah, like your village is what it is. You can't like add bridges, you can't add staircases, you can't decorate outside. So stuff like that, like just it's inherently simpler and like it's I would like to be able to change my village a little bit, but part of me like kind of likes that it just is what it is. It's very easy to it's not overcomplicated.
Yeah,
You
super
can't play the game for
digestible.
exactly. You can only really play for 15-20 minutes a day unless something's going on. So
Or
I'm having a good time with
or
it.
if you haven't
We're
picked your
playing.
weeds in 10 years and you have to pick all your
Sure.
weeds.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, Animal Crossing in my eyes is like the quintessential cozy game. Really any of
Yep.
them. But the original, it really is. Playing that on a rainy day, or if it's even just raining in game. The
Yep.
the like weirdly almost ahead of his time kind of lo-fi beat kind of sounded music.
The music is incredible. It's
Mhm.
so good. Like Animal Crossing, it's like every hour is a different song, and
Mhm.
they're all incredible.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Especially the nighttime music hits so good. And you're
Yep.
just fishing, catching bugs, hanging around. And yeah, you pop in a few, maybe an hour at most a day if you could even get that much content out of it. And
Yep.
I'm so nostalgic for the game, especially since when I was a kid. The GameCube was mine, but my sisters also had GameCubes, and they gotta have their GameCubes in their room. But no, my GameCube, because it was the first GameCube, was the family GameCube, so it was in the living room. So
Listen, at least you
I
got one
had
from Santa.
yeah, exactly. Santa one liked me more than you that year, but I had to share my village with my family. So my dad had a house, I had a house, my sisters had their house, and it's funny because I think about it, I'm like, man, it's just such a I feel like it's an of its time experience. It's like I go in for the day and I'm like, oh damn it, my sister got all the fossils today, or my dad got all the
Yep.
fruit, so I can't even do that today if I want. Like I'm
That's
so
such a cool
nostalgic.
experience.
Yeah, I'm very nostalgic for that shared world because my whole family played that game on that GameCube and we all played it together. So it's there's nothing that takes me back more than playing the original Animal Crossing. And even though Wild World was my favorite as a child, I think in retrospect, the original just because of how basic and how simple and how cozy it is probably my favorite Animal Crossing. So
One more cool thing about it that Nintendo will never do again, ever again in their life. The NES games you can get in the game and your house and just play like NES ROMs inside of Animal Crossing.
Wait, really?
yeah,
Yeah, incredible.
Which ones are in
Like,
there?
there's a list. It's not like you know. I think like Zelda's in like the code, but it's not in the actual game. Like
yeah.
stuff like that. Like,
Zelda 1 and Mario 1 are in the code, but you have to hack them in.
yep.
But then
It's like Balloon Fight and
otherwise,
stuff like
yeah, it's like
that.
Balloon Fight. I think like Wrecking Crew,
Yeah.
Excite Bike, like more of the simple ones. But
Yep.
that was a
Pretty
big
cool.
deal because back then they never released any of those games yet. So it's like that
Yep.
was like the only way to play like those games on like modern hardware. So at the time, that was super awesome.
And they're like rare. You don't just like come
Yeah,
across them all the
you got to
time.
earn them. There's a lot of
Yep.
stuff in the first Animal Crossing that you have to work really hard to earn. Like a lot of the furniture, which is like specific like model kits of like buildings within the town, you can get those, and it's like people have literally spent like 20 real time years getting like the post office and things like that because it just takes that long unless like you're skipping ahead in real life or like on the console changing the time and stuff. It's crazy. So you got to
Yep.
really work for some of the items in that game. It's really cool.
Definitely gotta
Yep.
try it.
Hell yeah.
Gotta make my copy live on.
Exactly. Well, yeah, keep that memory card to the side and start to save somewhere else, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
respect the dead,
Yeah.
Man,
For
that is
sure.
so cool. I love that you have that. Like I said, it's I don't know, something weirdly special about that. That's cool that you came across that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so uh, like dumbfounded that she still had. Dumbfounded is the word, but
Hmm.
surprised that she still had it because like it was like 3 o'clock in the day, like in the
Oh,
afternoon,
and just no one else happened to come by and
and
buy it,
yeah, it was
right?
just there. I was like, "What
That is
GameCube? No
lucky.
way!"
If you could go to
So
any garage sale and find video games nowadays, you're lucky. So,
yeah,
all right,
I
Tyler.
usually get one decent find a year. So hopefully this year I can
Exactly.
get something else.
There you go. Tyler, why don't you go ahead and give us your first cozy game on your list?
All right, my first cozy game. I'm gonna have to go with Elden Ring. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so
I was like, a few questions.
Elaborate.
all right. Well, I like my death counter. So, my first cozy game, I was gonna go with something else. I was gonna do Pokemon Snap originally.
I like that.
However, I was like going to get it, and then I seen something else on my shelf, and I was like, no, I'm replacing this. So this one I played a lot as a kid. I could literally sit back, play this for hours. That's a Pokemon Pinball Ruby and
Oh,
Sapphire.
okay.
Mm.
You know, this game just really blew me away as a kid. You know, just the fact that you get all the special levels, you could run into like the Kecleon, and then how you get to encounter, depending on if you're the Ruby board or the Sapphire board, you know, Groudon,
Mm-hmm.
Kyogre. Then you encounter him again, and then you could do another one to get Rayquaza, and you gotta fight him like 3 times. But I used to play that game for hours, and I mean, I still could. Like, just sit back, nice rainy day, something, go on that, hours, catching Pokemon, evolving Pokemon, all that sorts of stuff. And there's no random gimmicks, so I won't get a Whalmer into a Wish Cache, so it all works out.
There
You
you
guys
go.
ever try this one?
I haven't, but I did play a lot of the original Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Color. That is one of my favorite childhood games for sure. Um, I
Doesn't
still
it
actually
have a
have.
battery in it?
Yeah, it
Doesn't the
does for the
original have like a
Rumble.
yeah
Yeah, I was
yeah
gonna say
yeah.
it always sticks out to me because it's one of the ones that has the battery. Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved the original, and I never tried Ruby and Sapphire, so I'll definitely want to
Mm.
check that one out
Well,
then.
it's the best generation, so I advise giving it a shot.
Hmm.
How cool would like a Nintendo pinball collection be with like Mario pinball, Pokemon
That'd be
pinball,
cool.
Metroid Prime pinball? You know,
Yeah, Mario Pinball
Yeah, that'd
sucks,
be
but
great.
it would
it
be cool
does.
if they did
I
it
heard
Yeah.
it's
right.
bad. I've never played it, but I've heard it's bad. But still, I would like it in the pinball collection. You
That
know,
would be really cool if they did like a retro pinball collection of some kind. That'd be fun. Yeah, there's something about pinball games that are very homey feeling. It's like one of the classic kind of games that exists out there. There used to be, and there might still be out here in Las Vegas, a pinball museum. It was called like a pinball like Hall of Fame museum, and it was literally just like a warehouse full of old retro pinball machines and stuff from like the 80s, 90s,
Hmm.
early 2000s. Super cool.
Pretty neat.
They had a Mario 3 pinball machine that was really cool. They had swamp. What was it called? I can't remember. It was like an old horror movie, like a lot of old horror movie ones, and like some Sam Raimi Spider-Man ones, like a lot of really cool stuff. So something about pinball, just very
Yeah.
fun and homey feeling. I would love to own a pinball machine in my house one day. That'd be really cool. Those are just
That would
so
be super
expensive
cool.
and so hard to find. But
Yeah, every year by me, they have at this fairgrounds,
mhm,
there's like a pinball expo, and they have everything from like really old original up to like modern day new releases, some that aren't even out yet.
that's
And
cool.
it's like I think $10 or something to get in, just free play all day, go around. They got
That's cool.
vendors, all that stuff.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
it's
that
always
they
neat to
still
go
even
check out.
made them. That makes me happy that they still make
Yeah,
pinball machines.
I think
Didn't
when I
Arcade
went,
One Up start making pinball machines?
Oh, did they?
Didn't they?
I think they did with
I
like
feel
digital
like they
screens or
did.
something like that,
I
and you
Interesting.
feel
can
like
like
they
add
made.
new boards onto it.
Yeah, I think they did that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
I
think when I went, the newest one was like Iron Maiden.
That's fun.
Mm.
I'm a big fan of One Up, the arcade One Up. I think that they're a little overpriced, honestly, for what you get. But
Hmm.
it is cool that there's a company making arcade machines that are not, thousands of dollars. So
Yeah, once I
take
get
what you
more
can
room, I
get.
want to get the Mrs. Pac-Man. That's the one I want.
Yes, I have.
But I don't have room for it.
I have the original Mortal Kombat one that they did very early on, and then I have the original Marvel one that they did early on as well. So I don't have either of them hooked up right now, but they are really cool. Very nice quality. You have to get the little lifts for them because they're super short, so otherwise you gotta like sit on your knees to play them.
Yeah.
But they are really cool. So good old pinball. I like that. Good pick, Tyler.
Yep.
All right,
So
so
Gregley, what's yours?
I'm gonna cheat because I had to pick 4 games because one of them I wanted to pick so badly, but since we're keeping things retro, I'm like, this is borderline not retro. It's a PS2 game, but it's a PS2 game that came out in 2009, so it's like a very late PS2 game. But I had to mention Persona 4, one of my all-time
Mm.
favorite games. Persona 4 is my third favorite game of all time, if anyone's curious about that. But the PS2 version specifically, the very low poly models, the very atmospheric lighting and fog, just very cozy feeling. The whole game for the most part, it takes place in a small town. You're just hanging out with your friends, doing all your social stuff. So just the idea of being, it's very cozy. A game that takes place in a small Japanese town doesn't get much cozier than that, honestly. So I had to give
Yeah.
that a quick honorable mention. We don't have to go too deep into it, because as everyone knows, Persona is great. We don't need to gush too much about Persona when everyone already knows it's amazing. But I wore this shirt for a reason because I think that Croc
Oh, he's going
Legend of the
Croc.
Gobos is a fantastic cozy platformer on the PS1 and the Sega Saturn. I grew up with the PlayStation 1 version. I currently own the Sega Saturn version, but I have not played it, so I don't know if there's really any major differences. There might be some difference in sound. Usually that's the only difference between PS1 and Saturn games, when they have different versions. But everything about Croc is just so adorable. Everything is so colorful and cutesy, and all of the character models are just you just want to pinch their little cheeks. The music is so comforting and upbeat. Has one of the best soundtracks of its era for sure. And it's not a super difficult game. The controls are the only thing that make it difficult because the controls are very wonky on Croc. The idea that they made a 3D platformer with tank controls is
With tank
abysmal.
controls.
Yes,
Oh,
so
so
it
funny.
sucks because I am so nostalgic for the game, but unlike something like Sonic Adventure, where it's like I know Croc is bad, but it does not make it any less cozy. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to Croc. It is just such a homey childhood game of mine, and I know we didn't really define what a cozy game is, but I think that could kind of mean different things to different people, whether it be a relaxing game or something that just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So
Yeah.
Croc Legend of the Gobos is definitely the coziest platformer in my opinion.
Is Croc available on any modern platform anyway?
No, they never re-released it. So,
They announced Croc's coming back though, didn't they?
I
I
don't
could have
know.
sworn they did.
I think I don't know if that was ever really official, honestly. So,
All right, now I gotta find out.
yeah, but I like I said, I fully acknowledge Croc is not a great game, but if you've never played it, I think it's worth checking out because it is very unique. And even just those first couple of levels are so homey and fun and sweet feeling. So definitely got to recommend Croc.
Now,
I hope somebody will one day just make like a modded version of the game, like a ROM hack where they fix the controls, because that's all it really needs.
I just did
I
a
might
quick.
be.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, go,
I just did a
Patrick.
quick search. Is Croc coming back? And I probably should have been more specific. It says Crocs are back. Here's why you need a pair of these shoes.
Nice.
Perfect. Good
Oh,
enough.
I might be making this up in like a dream. I have this canon in my head that Croc was pitched to Nintendo as a Yoshi game, and that didn't go through.
No,
So they made
that
Croc. Is that real?
I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's always the story that's been bandied around. So I think that
Yeah.
that is initially what did happen. And you could kind of see a little bit of similarity between Croc and Yoshi. So definitely
Yeah.
is a believable story if it's true. But it's kind of
Sure.
fun. If it is true, it's even funnier that the only console it didn't end up on was the N64. They're like, man, F Nintendo.
Yeah. Screw you
Apparently, an
guys.
HD re-release is coming.
I'll believe it when I
Huh.
see it.
Well,
That'd be
yeah,
kind of cool with actual modern 3D platforming controls. That'd be neat.
No, I
that would
hope
be
they keep
nice.
the 10 controls. That'd be so funny.
Oh, man, I remember
know.
like I have such fond memories of Croc as well. Like I used to play that a lot.
Did you have that
And
as
when
a
I
kid
watched,
too?
I did, yeah.
Mhm.
And man, when Christian streamed that,
Mhm.
I was like, man, I don't know if this game holds up that well.
It
But
doesn't hold up at all.
I was like, you know what? I'll just keep it in my memory the way it is. All the nostalgia,
Mhm.
it's great. It's a great
Yeah,
game.
Shout out to him. I've
It was
never
good
beat
game.
that game, so I've
It's-
never seen the end of that game. So
it's also one of those BS games where you have to like 100% it to get the final boss, and I ain't about that either. So, but it gets pretty tough. So, especially
Yeah.
those last few worlds. So, shout out to him for being able to beat that, because he did beat it on stream, right?
Yeah.
yeah, but he didn't do the 100% ending thing.
It's too much.
Yeah, I
work.
don't think he did
blame
that
him.
one.
Yeah.
He rolled credits. That's all he has to do.
Yeah, I've always been a firm believer, like, even like you think about like the Kirby games, it's like a lot of the old Kirby games you don't really get the final boss unless you 100% it, and I don't like that. I feel like if you beat the game, you beat the game. And if that's the requirement for the final boss, then I think that's just a bonus for like almost like a completionist bonus for them being like, good job, you did it. Because I feel like it's not.
I think you answered your Pokemon Crystal question then.
There we go. I guess
you
that's
beat-
fair.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you know what? Screw Red. I don't need to fight him.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got to wait. For me.
All right.
For him.
For him.
For him.
For our boy. All right. So I think we've said all there is to see said about Croc. Zach, what do you have next on your list?
All right. So this is an interesting one for me because this is actually a new to me game that I hadn't played before.
Oh, cool.
I've always been a really big fan of Mario Golf 64. It's one of my favorite N64 games. It's like one of the big nostalgia hits for me. I've been playing it for so long. I replayed it on NSO, but a couple weeks ago, right on time for this episode, they added Mario Golf for the Game Boy to NSO. I never played that one, so I've been playing through Mario Golf here and there on NSO, the Game Boy version. It's also pretty simple. You have like a top-down view of the course, and you kind of like aim for where you kind of want to send the ball, and then it shoots it to a behind, pseudo 3D view, like watching you hit the ball. And it works really well. The physics work really well. They have like little arrows pointing like where it's up and down, and actually the ball will roll up and down when you hit those things. It's like a little basic character creator where you make your golfer, and this one has some RPG mechanics. So when you finish like a tournament, you get experience, and if you win, you get more experience, and you can like level up how far your drive is or your draw or fade and stuff like that, and different like. So it's cool because it makes you feel like you're like characters getting better as you get better at the game. And because I'm playing it on NSO, if I miss a putt, rewind back a little bit, make that putt.
Oh, you dirty cheater!
I'm never gonna miss a putt again. I have time powers. But yeah, it's funny. I was playing it without without the save states or rewind, and I was like, no, I'm gonna win this tournament. I'm just gonna start making everything. So I just started making birdies
God in
and
Mario's golf.
exactly. I was God in Mario Golf. It's so funny you mentioned that too because Mario is like their deity. When you start the game, he has like this his picture's up on the wall, and it's like, we hope to one day meet the great Mario. If you get good enough at golf, you can meet Mario. It's so funny because you can play as Mario if you play like the random whole single player. But if you play like the more of the story, I call it story mode. It's not really a story mode, but the tournament play. You play as your named character, and I'm assuming at the end I'll get to go against Mario. I
That's
look forward to
awesome.
it.
That's
But
so fun. And by the
it's so
way,
funny.
no judgment for the rewind. Actually, I'm not against
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like I know some people are probably turning off the show at the sound of that. Like oh
Hey,
these youngins and their fake gamer cred. But to
I've
me, I'm
I've
like
played
I don't
games.
care. So
I've
Back
done
in
my
my
time.
day.
I've done my time playing hard, grindy retro games. I will use my
hell
powers
yeah.
now that I have them.
You know what? When I
Um,
was a child, I 100%ed both Oddworld games on PS1, so I feel the same way. I'm like, I have played the hard games. If I want to
yeah,
use a goddamn save state, no one's gonna stop me.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's fun. I definitely am with you on golf games. I've always wanted to go golfing in real life and never have, just because I love golf games so much. And I know that probably sounds silly, but
Golf's
man,
really hard.
yeah, I've heard, but it's like I adore like Hot Shots Golf or like the Mario Golf game, especially on GameCube Toadstool Tour. I played that all the time with my dad growing up. So I definitely get the cozy feel from golf as well. I've heard very good things about the one you're playing, the Game Boy Color game. So
Yep.
I definitely want to check that out eventually too. Do you have any history with Mario Golf of any kind, Tyler?
I played a lot of the GameCube one. I never played the Game Boy one.
Hmm.
Pretty much just the GameCube one is the one I played a whole lot.
Do they have a way on Nintendo Switch Online to link the Game Boy Color and N64 game or no?
Ooh, I don't.
Because there's
I
some
feel
sort of
like
connectivity on actual hardware, right?
there very well might be. I
Hmm.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because I think
But I
if you have the port like where you could connect Game Boy Color game to your N64, I think you could transfer your golfer from the color game to the N64 and like transfer it with its stats. I think that's how that
yeah.
works. So I was wondering if there's a way to do that on NSO. Probably not, but it'd be cool if they did find a workaround for
Come up a
that.
lot with NSO because they're kind of dancing around it with Pokemon Stadium.
Hmm.
They won't put Pokemon Red or Blue on the Game Boy app, but people are wondering if when they do,
Hmm.
if it'll be compatible. But I don't know if there's any way to actually check that yet. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I love Mario Golf games. Like I said, N64 was one of my favorite games. I liked the one on the Switch. It wasn't the best. It was a fun game,
Hmm.
but it didn't quite live up to the nostalgia power that 64 had. And I'm really enjoying the Game Boy version. I'm gonna keep playing it and see if I can get through the whole thing.
Cool, that's fun. Yeah, we'll have
Yep.
excited to hear updates on that since I've heard it's a very good game. All
Yep.
right, Tyler, what is your next cozy retro
All
game?
right, my next cozy retro game. So Craig, you kind of like started the whole topic of the mascots of back in the day. So this one is also a mascot, which they need to bring back. I'm still waiting on it. Uh, Spyro the Dragon.
All right, yeah,
You know,
100%.
always always loved Spyro the Dragon. I am more of a Crash Bandicoot fan, but I don't want to put that as a cozy game because that game can get really brutal
Yep.
and
Yeah, I feel like that's more
makes me not feel
infuriating.
cozy anymore.
No, makes
But
me want to
Spyro the
punch a
Dragon,
wall.
yeah, Spyro the Dragon, just going around, flying around. All three of them, honestly, 1, 2, and 3 on the PS1. Um, Especially 3, I liked how you were able to play as the other characters and stuff. That I always enjoyed. Skateboarding as Hunter, or no, you skateboarded as Spyro, but with the Hunter.
Mm,
Um, yeah, just always really loved those games. The soundtrack's great. Just flying around, everything about it, collecting all the gems. I really liked all the enemy designs and all the pretty much character designs in the game.
mhm.
And yeah, it's just one I used to play a lot as a kid. I really enjoy, and it's
Yeah,
one I could just sit down, and have a great time.
yeah, I love Spyro 1. There's a lot of very like vaporwave dreamscapey kind of looking environments in Spyro 1 that I love that
Yeah,
are super cool and cozy looking. Like you said, the music is amazing. I believe that was Stuart Copeland of the Police if I'm remembering right. If I'm in, I might be mixing up either the name of the band or the name of the drummer, but it was a very famous drummer that made the music for the Spyro trilogy, which is really cool.
Interesting.
And that's why the drums go so hard on this soundtrack.
Just randomly, the drums are so good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and they're all good, but the drums just go so hard on Spyro games, and yeah, it's super. Yes, it's so good, but yeah, like says so much like very like vapor wavy kind of looking environments. In the first Spyro game, I never played 1 or 2, but yeah, shout out to Spyro 1.
Never played 1 or 2. I feel like 3 is my favorite of them, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I need to play 2 and 3. I've only played 1, so I'll get there eventually. I have
hey,
the
it's the year of the dragon.
it is the
This
year
year,
of the dragon, but
you could do it.
yeah, and I actually never beat Spyro 1 on PS1. I only beat the remaster from a few years ago. So, and I own all of the games physically on PS1, so maybe I'll try to
It came
marathon
out
those
2018.
Mm-hmm.
I have a poster right here. That's how I know.
There you go.
I've never owned any of the Spyro games. I think my only experience playing Spyro is I think it's through the Crash Warped demo, like a demo disc for Crash Warped. I've played Spyro through that. One of the Crash games has a Spyro demo. That's how I played Spyro as a kid. I never
So,
owned
speaking of Spyro demos, did you know that on the Crash Bandicoot Game Boy Advance games, you know what I'm talking about, Craig?
Actually, I don't. I think we're
And
going to something else. I'll share my fun fact
oh,
after.
so on the Crash Game Boy Advance games and the Spyro Game Boy Advance games, I think it's like if you hold L and R when you're booting up the game or something. I don't know exactly which games are. It gives you like a DDR style dance rhythm game, and if it's a Crash game, it's like I think with Spyro and it's opposite or it's the same one. Dude, it's just really odd. And I remember when I first found it out, I was like, "What is this, dude? You're just going around just like DDR style, and then Crash or Spyro is just dancing."
That's awesome. I love that.
That's
Fun
cool.
fact.
Yeah, so what I thought you were gonna say is how you could play all of Crash Bash on the demo included with Spyro 2, which is super funny. So do you know about that, Zach? Yeah,
Did
so
not.
there's a demo of Crash Bash on there, and you can do a cheat code in Crash Bash to do the debug menu and unlock all the games in the game for the demo. So the whole game is included if you type in the debug menu cheat code.
Oh wow, that's
So
neat.
it's like if you buy that game, you technically own Crash Bash, and I'm pretty sure Spyro 2. It might be 3, but I'm pretty sure it's Spyro 2. So if you have a copy of Spyro 2, anyone out there, you should look into that because I always thought that was super funny. That was just a really big oversight.
Interesting. So if you were to complete the set for Spyro, would you need to get that disc and like have it off to the back?
I guess technically, right?
Yeah, came with it.
All
Gotta
right.
have it complete.
So my next retro cozy game is one that probably not a lot of people have ever heard of, because I love my Japan only games, obviously. But have either of you guys ever heard of Magical Vacation?
Have not.
This,
Nope.
this
Inform me.
Sounds lovely.
yes, so it is a Game Boy Advance JRPG that only ever came out in Japan. It is developed by Brownie Brown, which is also the developers of Mother 3, which is how I found out about it. So this is a JRPG where you go on a field trip with your school to a island, and you kind of just go around and you do your thing. It has like a whole much deeper kind of darker plot. I've never finished the game, but the plot of the game is that like there was a secret war that most of the world doesn't know about, and you kind of get wrangled into that once you go onto the island because children are known to go missing on the island. But the thing that makes this game so cozy is just how beautiful all the pixel art is. It by far has the best, bar none, pixel art that you will ever see on the Game Boy Advance. It is the most gorgeous Game Boy Advance game. I promise you that. If you look it up, you won't believe me that it's a Game Boy Advance game. Like
What'd you say it's called again?
Magical Vacation. Like if you look
Magical
it up, a
Vacation.
lot of the artwork looks like it's just like made by somebody like as like a pixel artist modern day. It is the most gorgeous game you'll ever see. The music is beautiful. Everything about it is just so calm, and it's a JRPG, so there's the tense battles and everything else, but just the exploring the overworld and existing in that world is just the most like comfortable, like just like dreamscapey kind of JRPG out there. And
Yeah, this looks great.
right, isn't it incredible looking?
Is this like
Yeah.
a prequel to Magical Star Sign?
Yes, the DS game.
I was
It
like,
is.
this looks familiar.
Yes. So, yes, we did get the sequel to the game in America on the DS, but this game never came out here. So I know a lot of people probably won't check it out because you have to go through the hoops of playing a fan translation. And like I said, I personally haven't finished it either, so I need to go back and finish it. But absolutely recommend this game. This one is a high up cozy game just based off of the total vibes it gives off alone. So I wanted to give this game a shout out because not a lot of people know about it. And yeah, so Magical Vacation. If you guys decide to check it out, let me know because I need someone to talk to about this game. And just talking about it makes me want to pick it back up again because I haven't played it. I started it a few years ago, and it's been a long time since I've touched it, so I really want to get back to it.
Well, if you ever get the translated ROM for your Delta emulator, send it over, and maybe I'll check it out.
I already have it on there, actually, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because it's been
Send
so
me
long
the
since I
ROM.
played it, I was going to start it over, so... Yes, I'm going to illegally share this video game file with you, don't worry. It's fine. Emulation is fine. Everything is
I own the
fine.
game. It's over there on my shelf. It's okay.
I actually do own a physical copy of it.
Really?
Yeah, against all odds, a copy of it got traded into one of my local game stores, and I was like, what are the chances of me finding this weird niche game that, like, nobody else I've ever talked to has known about? So I had to pick it up. So I'm a proud owner of a physical copy of this Japanese-only JRPG by the underrated Brownie Brown. So, super cool.
Every time I see an import section at a game store, I hope to find the Japan-exclusive Ape Escape games. There's like a racing game and like all this stuff.
So funny.
I want them.
Yeah, it's something I would love to get it more into collecting eventually is Japanese Game Boy Advance games. I love their weird rectangular boxes. A lot of them have just super cool artwork. So that's something I think I might try to waste my money on eventually. So
I've got Japanese Pokemon Gold.
oh, do you? That's cool.
neat.
I have Japanese
Yeah.
Crystal. So
Nice.
yeah,
I have
love the
Japanese
artwork on
Silver.
those.
That's kind of funny.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That is
it's
so
right
funny.
there.
We
Wait.
just completed the set together with our powers combined.
With our
We
powers
have Gen
combined.
2. That's awesome. Yeah, because I got my copy of Crystal because I wanted on... That's awesome. How funny that we
Yeah.
all own a version. Yeah, I got mine
It
on
is really
eBay
funny.
because I was just watching... I just typed in, like, Game Boy and, like, sorted it by, like, ending soonest. And there was a bid ending, and it was only, like, $20 for the game shipped. And there was no bid, so I bid on it and I won it. And I was like, why not? That's a great price. So,
I got mine from my local game store like a year ago for $20.
it's
And I
awesome.
was just like, I know it's Japanese and they don't go for as much as the North American ones, but I was like, I'll spend $20 on that. Like I don't care. Like
The older I
it's
get,
right there.
I kind of just don't care anymore. It's like, if I have a Japanese version of a game, I'm just like, good enough. It's a version of the game, you know?
Yep.
It's I just care about things being complete. I don't really care about region anymore. I just want to have the whole complete in box experience. But
Yeah.
that's enough about Magical Vacation. What's your next cozy game, Zach?
My next cozy game is kind of a cheat. It's a game I talked about on the last episode. I'm still playing it, but it is one of my favorite games ever. It's a game I play so often. It's Fire Emblem Sacred Stones.
Oh, yeah.
Got it in my pocket right now.
There it is.
And like that game isn't inherently a cozy game, but I've played it so many times. I'm so familiar with it, and it kind of gives me like a calming presence when I'm playing that game again.
Yeah, the familiarity, right?
Familiarity. I don't have to think about the story. I don't have to think about the strategy too much. I know everything about it. I can just turn my brain off and just watch the nice sprite work, listen to the great music, and watch numbers go up. It's a great game. I said last time I'm doing like a challenge run of it right now. But yeah, I don't ever really get bored of it. The game's pretty short. Each map is like the perfect length where I can do like a map a night if I want to. Just you know, it's probably the game I've replayed through the most in my life, and the familiarity and the nostalgia make it a cozy game for me, even if it's not necessarily a cozy game inherently, you know. But
Man, you with
love that.
all the insane Fire Emblem runs you do, I mean, you could probably breeze through those games. So I would say that's a cozy game for you, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Would
I'm having fun with it.
Would you say Fire Emblem is your favorite video game franchise?
I think so. I've thought about this a lot. I think it's probably 3D Mario, Fire Emblem, and then probably the Souls games. I really like the Souls games.
Nice.
Zelda's up there too, but Fire Emblem's definitely Oh, and Pokemon, of course.
Mhm.
But Fire Emblem's probably my favorite series. But
Yeah, because I need to play that game so bad because that's one of the Fire Emblems I haven't played yet. But I definitely get the cozy feeling of Fire Emblem. I mean, I think about some of the music in Awakening, just like the music that plays when you're going in between the maps, like the bum 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 bum
yep,
bum bum. It's just
yep.
so, I don't know. It's like in Fire Emblem, you're preparing for tragic war and all these casualties, but something about it, it
War
does
with your
it.
friends,
Yes,
you know.
Fire Emblem does have a homey feeling to it, especially the deeper you get into those games and you do all the, all the I forget what's it called when you build up the friendship.
Support,
Yes, the
support.
support. Sorry, I was blanking on the name, but yeah, all the
Yeah.
support conversations as you get to know these characters better, and especially in later Fire Emblem games where it's like you see all the different combinations of conversations with characters, it really starts to feel like you get close with, almost like you get close to these people like they're your friends, as cheesy as it sounds. But I
No, I
Fire
get
Emblem
that.
Fire Emblem's definitely something special, and
Yep.
I like that game is so just like close to you, that something that's so not inherently cozy like that is cozy to you. So
Yeah.
that's really neat.
Killing people with swords. But yeah.
Like Elden Ring for me. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Elden Ring for you. Yeah, exactly.
Elden Ring is
Very
home,
cozy.
baby.
I think just to kind of like stay in like the meta of cozy, I think just handheld games can be really cozy. Just
Mhm.
Yeah,
like by themselves, just the fact that it's something on a Game Boy or Game Boy Advance, there's just the cozy factor is like multiplied, you know.
Yeah, handheld gaming has
But
inherent
agree.
coziness to it.
yeah,
All right, Tyler, what you got?
All right, so for me, I had a couple options of what I wanted to throw in for my last one
Mm-hmm.
because there's a ton that I like, but I figured I'd go something a little different. And this one is going to be the Lego Star Wars games, the original
Okay,
one.
yeah, yeah.
It's just Lego games in general. They always had that vibe where you could just go around. They always had like fun little gimmick stuff in them, and it's Star Wars. I like Star Wars, and it's one that I have very fond memories of, like hanging out with a friend back in the day, and we had a sleepover. And we stayed up all night. I think it was playing Lego Star Wars 2, if I remember. It was 2 or 1. I don't remember, but I believe it was 2. And dude, just staying up all night, and then before you knew it, the sun was up, and we were like, "Whoa, it's like morning already! Like what?" And just going around, messing around with each other, killing each other, fun times like that.
yeah,
Wouldn't say that's necessarily cozy, but
No,
always
I
hearing that R2D2 scream, makes it for me, satisfies me.
that's so funny. Yeah, I love
But
the Lego Star Wars games. That's a great choice.
yeah, I feel like any Lego game, honestly, could be like a cozy game. It's just
Yeah.
one that you can just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, they're
You
so
know?
just
yep.
cutesy and turn off your mind, and they're all good. Like I don't know if you guys have ever watched my Vita Pickups videos, but every time I show off a Lego game throughout the years, I've been like, it's a Lego game, it's good. I don't have much else to say.
Yeah,
It's just inherently good because
yeah,
it's a Lego game.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to
And
I
it's cool because, like, for the Lego games, there's so many different options.
hmm I know,
Like
like the fact
Lord of
that
the
there's
Rings,
Lego,
Star
yeah,
Wars.
Lego like Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. I'm just like, it doesn't get much cozier than the Hobbit.
Hobbit's pretty
Oh.
cozy.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's a great choice. I forever have the sound of just like your character dying and the bricks falling implanted in my mind. That's one of the greatest video game sound effects of
And
all
like,
time.
shout out to the Vita
I know in all
because
the
look
Lego
at all of them.
games. It's beautiful. That's all of them,
Nice.
That's
right? You're
all of
not
them on the
missing
Vita.
any?
Yes, I have all of them on the Vita.
There you go. Good stuff.
I
I never
dropped them when I was
got
getting them, so now they're out of order.
did you ever get the newer one, the Skywalker Saga?
I did for
Was
PS5. Yes,
was
I
it
did.
any good? I've been
There,
wanting to check it out.
it is really good. I'd recommend it, but if the Platinum Man,
Is it rough?
me, Trophy, there is like over 1,000 collectibles,
Okay,
and,
hard
Is
pass.
it
and they're
one? It's just one game, one platinum.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're like all mixed together, but they're all like big open worlds kind of. So it's really neat, but just play it. Wouldn't necessarily go for all
Not
the
worth it.
trophies. I might do it eventually, like because it's an easy pick up and play game. So I might pick it up, do a little bit, let it go, and eventually get it.
Cool, cool.
But
All right.
yeah,
My final cozy game. And I thought hard about this one because I didn't want to be like, oh, Harvest Moon 64, because it's like I feel like Harvest Moon is the easiest answer to this question, and that's the first thing that came to
Yeah.
mind. But when I was thinking of a cozy game that I played as a child, and I've even picked it up as an adult again, just to get that fuzzy feeling back, Nintendogs. I love Nintendogs. I never played the 3DS versions, but the original versions on the DS, that's very early DS. I remember getting the Chihuahua version with my DS for my birthday that year. I had my Chihuahua named Chi Chi because that was the name of my neighbor's dog that was also a Chihuahua, so I named it after that. And I just remember taking it for walks every day and giving it the bath and playing toys with it, throwing toys in the room and everything, doing all the competitions, throwing the frisbee. And it was just such a sweet and innocent and cute little game, just raising a puppy that never grows up as a forever puppy. And it just kind of in general, I wanted to give a shout out to the Nintendo DS because I feel like the Nintendo DS is like the best cozy game machine. So many of the games on that system have like that kind of like good looking but also low fidelity 3D graphics. A lot of the music on it is also very low fidelity but just very cozy and fun feeling. And like you were saying with the just handheld gaming in general is just inherently so personal and it makes you feel good just having this little thing in your face. You're laying in bed playing a nice calm game. So when I think of like the ultimate cozy machine, I think of the DS, and when I think of the DS, one of the first things I think of is Nintendogs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me that they with how well those games sold because they had multiple versions and
Yeah.
people bought those games like hotcakes. The Switch doesn't have Nintendogs, does it?
No?
No, I think it just had like a little spin-off series called like Little Pets and Friends or something.
Yeah, but it wasn't
The
made
only
by
reason,
Nintendo, so
yeah, but the only reason I know about that game is my girlfriend wanted that one year, and I ordered it off of Amazon. It came in, it was a PAL copy, and there was a slit in the seal. Somebody took the game cartridge out
it's terrible.
and sent me just a case. I was like,
That
what?
sucks.
Amazon, when I messaged their support, they were like, oh no, we'll just refund you. They didn't ask for pictures or anything. I was like, we'll refund you. And I was like, oh okay.
I've gotten
But yeah,
several PAL
fun
games
little
from
story.
Amazon where the picture has the NA logo on it, and they send me a PAL copy. It makes me so upset. Why is there even a PAL copy here? First of all, I don't understand it.
It's in the wrong country.
It doesn't. It bothers me so much.
So
Like if I knew I was buying a PAL copy, it'd be one thing. But it's not that big of a deal. But it does still bother me when I open it up and it's got a
PAL
freaking.
copy is just as bad as getting a World Edition.
Hey, you can shut your mouth. World editions are fine.
We
Okay.
are pro World Edition in this house.
Pro World Edition.
We stand
The
the World
second floor up
Edition.
here is Pro World Edition. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it, but it just irritates me if I have
World
one of those.
Edition and save states. I will bring the true gamers forward.
True
I like
gamers unite. We play World Editions and we use save states. We might even rewind once in a while if we're feeling spicy.
Exactly.
But yeah, do either of you guys have any DS or I guess more Nintendo specific, but just DS memories in general of how nice and cozy that machine is?
Dude, like you said, maxing out the time on the Pokemon games, man.
Yeah.
I could play that for hours.
Yeah.
Like, even like you said, like I don't even know how I maxed out that timer, dude. Like, yeah, you had the Proki radar afterwards, which, fun fact, that's how I encountered my first shiny Pokemon, which was a Gloom, and I killed it. But
Oh no.
That's awesome.
yeah, R.I.P. But 'cause I was like, why is this green? And I killed it, and yeah,
That's
long
awesome.
behold, I was like, oh, that's
This is
why.
my only DS I ever had was the original silver
I
thing.
love it.
The hinge is broken here,
no.
so it just kind of like
Oh, it just flops
around.
open. Yeah.
You can like pull it off like that.
But it works.
It works. Battery's green. Because of course
Works
it
like a
is.
champ.
Yeah,
Probably haven't
this is
charged it in
great.
10 years and it's still fully charged.
Yeah, it's great. I love this thing.
Yeah,
The first system I bought with my own money.
Oh, really? That's cool. The 3DS was the first I bought with my own money, funnily enough. So
You want to get really cozy?
how cozy
Talk about the
how
Game Boy
cozy we feeling?
Micro.
There we go.
Oh wow!
That is.
I've never had one of
Yeah.
those.
I love
That's
that. I
cool.
love the Game Boy Micro. It's so like almost inconveniently small, but I love it. 'Cause it's
Yes.
the pixel density on the screen though, games look so good on that screen. It's amazing how good games look on the micro. The only micro I have is the Mother 3 Special Edition, so I don't play on it because I want to keep it
Mm,
pristine. That thing is worth like
yeah.
way too much money now. It's insane.
Yeah.
But because I got the entire like big box set for it, and that was that thing is, I think it's like over $1,000 now. It's insane. So
Oh
I
wow,
I don't want to touch it. I just want to keep it looking pretty.
for
Right
sure.
there, I can admire it every day. You know.
Exactly, on my little mother shelf. So, but yeah, those are our retro cozy games. All of you out there listening, you should let us know your retro cozy games down in the comments below.
We'd
Um,
love to hear them.
yes, we all love a good cozy game. We like feeling happy when we play games. You know, sometimes you want a good challenge. You want your Dark Souls or your Stellar Blade or your Elden Ring or something, but it's always good to just kind of kick back and relax. I think I'm actually going to go boot up some Animal Crossing after this now and start a
There you
new
go.
town because it's been so long, and I know everyone. It's when you play Animal Crossing late at night, all the villagers will go to sleep. But when you start a new game, everybody's out for that until after you get all
Yep.
the intro stuff out of the way. So I can at least get
Yep.
started, and I'll get to hear that sweet nighttime music. So,
It's like a unique
There
environment.
we
Like
go.
it's not split. It never works like that outside of that moment.
which is
Cool.
super cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that after we get off. That's a fun idea. So I guess that's it for this episode. If you guys have any quick fire shot games on your mind, if you want to let out, no, I guess you could go ahead and shout them out, like I shouted out Persona 4. But I don't know. Any other games you want to give a quick shout out to?
Two that were on my list that I was debating
Mhm.
was going to be Ape Escape, the original one, because I love that one, and both of you need to play it.
Oh, I
And
played it.
oh, you have? Okay, so it's Zach that only hasn't.
I haven't played
I
it.
replayed that game numerous times. Like how Zach was saying, he replayed Fire Emblem, like Ape Escape, man. Every time they re-release it, I'm like, I'll play it. That, and then I had Super Mario RPG.
Oh,
I
okay,
feel
yeah,
like that one's a really cozy RPG.
I like that.
Yep, for sure.
And then, like I said in the beginning, Pokemon Snap.
Yes.
Those are like my honorable mentions.
Any honorable mentions, Zach?
I mean, a lot of SNES stuff. You know, Mario World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, stuff like that.
Any Kirby
Those
game.
games just Kirby games in general. Yeah, yeah. Cozy can mean a lot of things, but I think a game that means a lot to you and that you like makes you feel comfortable and happy. I think that's the pinnacle of cozy right there. So
Also, speaking of Kirby, happy birthday, Kirby, because we're recording this on the 27th.
Oh, is that
Kirby's birthday.
the birthday of Kirby? That's fun.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
I wasn't
Kirby.
feeling the news, but it was Japan, so, you know.
There you
yeah,
go.
But happy birthday, Kirby, you know. Come August
Kirby
is when we'll talk about it.
64 is probably still my favorite Kirby game. So, but I do love
Ooh.
Planet Robobot. I love Planet Robobot so much. So, and not my favorite. Actually, probably my least favorite Kirby game, but the coziest Kirby game is Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the SNES because the whole thing looks like it was drawn in crayon, which is amazing. The
I
aesthetics
still
of that
really
game.
want to play Forgotten Land.
Yes, you got to play that too. That's super fun. So shout out
I
to
liked it a
Kirby.
lot.
Kirby is the ultimate cozy video game character / series.
Also, canonically, the strongest Nintendo character.
I know, isn't that incredible? Never forget,
yeah.
Kirby can kick your ass, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so if you enjoyed the show, of course, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, Craig's Game Room. Every other week we'll be doing a podcast like this. We're having a good time. We plan on keeping it going as long as we can. Zach,
sure.
is there anything you would like to shout out?
Nothing specific. It was a great episode. I had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Tyler?
Yeah, pretty much same thing. Can't wait for the next one. Having a lot of fun with this. Don't forget, go to Daily Beatings channel, watch that Grimace's birthday speedrun. One of the best videos I ever seen on YouTube.
Also got the Shrek speed run up there too. So if you want to watch them both, they're
That's
both
on
up
your
there.
YouTube channel?
Yeah, they're both up there. Yeah.
Oh, I never see. Well, I know
Yeah.
what I'm doing after this.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
And as of
yeah.
right now, this podcast is YouTube only. I've had a couple people reach out and say that they want this on podcast services. If enough people reach out, maybe we'll try to consider that. Unfortunately, you can't put stuff on podcast services for free. So if there's enough demand, then that is something we will maybe look into in the future. For now, just on YouTube. But since we are a new show, please do share with your friends if you enjoy. Leave a like, leave a comment. It helps us out a lot. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching.
Have a good one, everyone.
Adios.
Stay cozy.